Okay, we're live or what?
Hello, my name is William Burnett, and you're listening and maybe possibly watching on YouTube the latest episode of Talk Video, and I'm here today with our first Canadian, I think,
Yeah,
Mr. Jared Stufko, also known as Jex Opolis.
that's right.
Do you have any other aliases?
In the 90s, I was the coroner.
The coroner.
The coroner, yeah.
You got don't speak into
Sorry.
the mic better.
Okay, I was the coroner.
Is that like the horrorist?
Yeah, it was a slightly goth thing.
What was your big hit?
No hits. Just a little bit of guy liner, you know? A little guy liner never hurt anybody.
Wow. Did you have records out?
No,
Oh shoot.
no.
What about like some CDRs?
Well, I was part of a band. So my name was the coroner. And
What
my-
were the other guys' names?
my brother, who was the drummer, was named Clovis, which is some kind of Gaelic, like he's some kind of Gaelic king or something. Was Clovis, and then one guy's name was Red. The singer's name was Red, and the bass player was named Ernst.
Those guys got off easy. Jeez, where are they now?
Well, my brother's alive.
Brothering around.
Yeah, being my brother. The other guys are just living. They're all in Canada.
So, those of you who don't know, Mr. Stufko, I don't know any other Stufkos, but he's from Edmonton,
Mhm.
Alberta, Canada, and you've been living in. You had a stint in Toronto,
Yeah.
and then you've been in New York 5 years now.
Yeah, 5 years.
5 years or so,
Yeah.
and now you're like playing all the big festivals. Not all of them.
Not all of them.
But you've
no.
been to one.
I've been to one, yeah.
And you release music as Jex Opolis, which is a sort of a dance music, kind of various genres. And you've been on some. You have your own label called Good Timing.
Yeah.
Timing,
Good timing, yeah.
with just no G at the end.
Yeah.
And you've also released on Beats in Space, a very
Not Beats in
no,
Space.
not Beats in Space.
Running Back.
Running Back. I thought you did a Beats in Space record.
No.
Oh, I'm just making stuff
Never.
up now.
I
You
should.
just play his parties all the time.
Yeah, I should do one.
You should. And then I don't know, you might have other stuff coming out soon on bigger, fancier labels like
I released a thing on Deck Mantle this year.
oh, you did release on Deck Mantle.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if that came out.
Yeah.
And so you're doing
And I have Bad Timing too.
oh, you do.
Which is my like
That's for the
cyber
coroner
goth.
or whatever.
Yeah, that's like cyber goths of
Wait, what's it
stuff
called?
I
It's
know.
not the coroner. What is it?
The Coroner.
The coroner, like the guy who looks
Look-
at dead bodies.
Yes. Yeah, the Coroner.
That sucks so bad.
Actually, if you look at, because I'm playing live now as Jex Opolis, if you look at my guitar, I think there's still the sticker between the pickups, between like the bridge and neck pickups, it says Coroner. on it.
Is it a cool logo at least?
No, it's garbage. It's like this like security T-shirts that you buy on Canal Street. You know.
Oh,
No, it's
God.
garbage.
That threw me off. I don't know what I'm going to say now, man.
We kind of jumped into it.
Yeah, well, I need sometimes, so by now, I've done a few of these. I'm trying to get a little better at them. I noticed, and you told me you watched some of them,
Mm-hmm.
is that sometimes it takes me a little too long to I do a little too much of the background, and maybe ends up like everybody has the same, like, yeah, I was little and I found out about breakdancing, and then I went to the mall and I liked MTV, and then my older brother gave me LSD or what, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not yours, but I'm trying to. I mean, maybe it's interesting or not, because yours you're from Edmonton. I can't imagine. You're about 40 years old, right?
Yeah.
Not quite yet.
I'm 41.
Oh, I was at your birthday.
Yeah.
I don't even remember how old. 41.
Yeah, 41.
So we're pretty much exactly the same age. I'm a little older, not much, but so it was, that you were the 80s. You were in the 80s.
Yeah.
As a kid, so you had like hair metal as a little kid, and maybe some Run DMC.
Yeah, we had Van Halen was big for us, and the Police, and Beastie Boys or whatever, you
Yeah.
know. But Van Halen was the big one.
The
for us.
biggest.
Yeah, the biggest.
And what's Edmonton like? I don't know if I've ever been there.
It's a suburban city. Now it's over 1 million, I think. but it's a pretty liberal place. It's in Alberta, which is the Texas of Canada.
Mhm.
So maybe that's why we get along.
Yeah, quite similar.
Yeah, so there's a lot of oil and gas and cattle.
Working folk.
Yeah, working folk, and so it's a fairly conservative, like politically conservative. But Edmonton is the big university is there, and there's a lot of public service workers there and stuff, government workers. So it's a little more liberal. But Edmonton is just kind of like a suburban,
Yeah. And you said so like your family life at home. You said you had an older brother. Were there others?
Yeah, I have two little sisters.
Older brother and two little sisters,
Yeah.
and your mom and dad are still together.
Mm-mm.
No, as a kid, the separate families. Or
No,
something?
they split just after we kind of all flew the nest.
Oh, when you were done.
Yeah,
They were done with you, and then they were like.
I think my mom was like, "Okay, lights out." I did my part. Everybody's out of the house. Everyone has a girlfriend or boyfriend.
Seems pretty common, I guess.
Yeah.
And you had a pretty normal home life, or
Yeah. It was. We had, same shit basically as everybody. There was no major.
but you had like a Canadian. There was like a Canadian MTV or something, wasn't there?
Yeah, much music.
Much music, and what was the big stuff on there? Have you ever talked to anybody and like found out what's different?
Well,
Like,
I mean, I
there
could.
are lots of local, like regional bands, or
Yeah, there's a lot of Canadian bands.
what
And
was big that we probably don't know about?
Well, in the 80s, like Rock Voisine.
Say it again.
Rock Voisine.
Rock Voisine.
Yeah, he's French Canadian, but he's from New Brunswick. He's not from Quebec. I can't believe I'm talking about Rock Voisine. Rock Voisine, or like you did get weird because the Quebec French Canadian thing would throw a monkey wrench into it. So you get or like Mitsu, who was the Canadian Madonna.
Okay.
Are you ever on Discogs and you find or whatever, you hear some record at the thing and it's clearly, like the Spanish New Order or something.
Yeah.
So that's what Canada had. Its like the Tom Cochrane or whatever.
Life is a Highway.
Yeah, that crossed over to the States.
Yeah, but he was in the Red Rockets.
Red Rock, yeah.
Red Rockers.
Red Rider.
Rider. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Red Rider. So yeah, there was all this CanCon stuff. Most of it being CanCon, Canadian content.
Oh, I never. Let's see. These are words I'm learning today. That's why I do this.
Well, you ever said that MAPL logo, Maple, on records?
Does it have the leaf on it?
No, it just says MAPL.
No, I never noticed it before.
But if you look at, there's a lot of really cool records that have that on there. Like,
so it's like the Italo SIA.
It is
stamp.
like that,
Okay.
indeed.
So it's an import or stamp. It's a stamp.
Yeah, but it means made and produced in Canada.
Oh, okay.
So, or I think the L is for label or something. But so there was all this Canadian stuff, but we would get a lot of on Much Music there was a really good show called City Limits. Have you ever seen Videodrome?
Yes.
So apparently Videodrome is based on, how it's like trash TV or whatever.
Yeah.
It's based on this guy Moses Neimer who ran City TV in Toronto, and they would show pornography on Friday nights, and then he started Much Music, which was kind of this off the wall thing. Like they had video hosts or whatever who would just like look in the camera and they go into like videographers. Instead of having like people on a mic and a video camera person, they would just have the person presenting holding the camera.
So the audio would come from behind the camera.
Yeah. So there was all this kind of like,
well, that's groundbreaking.
Yeah, this edgy kind of stuff. So there was Much Music had some good.
Were they really ugly or something?
No, they were generally very attractive.
Okay. I don't just checking.
But yeah, no, they were generally attractive people. But anyway, so Videodrome was based on Moses Neimer and City TV and his whole empire with Much Music and stuff. So that kind of Canadian weirdo stuff would filter through a little bit. But in the later years, Much Music got very corporate, and the Canadian music industry is this machine where it's all set up with grant systems because Canada is this liberal country. So you would have the government funding rock music and the arts and stuff, but what would end up happening is they're just funding corporate rock. So you had all these like horrible bands in the 90s, like Our Lady Peace and Moist and all this crap they're basically the Canadian Creed, and they never crossed over to the States because they sucked. So.
No, I mean, I'm sorry if I get too like Canada centric. I just don't really know that much about it. And you're someone I know, because I'm always making like Canada jokes when you come over.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine. I'm happy to. If someone wants to talk about it.
Yeah, maybe if I know more about it, I won't make so much fun of it.
Well,
or maybe it'll get worse.
It gets worse. The more you know about Canada, the worse it gets.
But what I mean, like, so now you. But what? So okay, you've been here for 5 years now. So you gotta, you have some. Your wife is Canadian.
Yeah.
And do you mostly associate with Canadians here, or you have kind of mixed?
Mixed.
Yeah,
for sure.
And so you had a look into Americans. What's the have you noticed something that's like way different about Americans than Canadians? Is that a weird question?
Well, I mean, the Americans that I meet are people like you, so we have a common music thing.
Dorks.
I'm not out there, in Times Square with like a cheap tie on, flashing my resume and meeting corporate Americans. Yeah. Really, my wife, because of her work, she's more in a corporate environment. I meet people through her work, and sometimes I'm like, whoa.
But those people are everywhere, though. You go to like France and you meet the corporate people.
Yeah,
and they're pretty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or I don't mean, some are better than others.
And look, I'm not against corporations at all, but yeah, I mean, the people I've met in New York, I mean, just to live here, you have to be baseline nice, I think. I haven't met any. There's bigger assholes in Toronto than there are. Like gatekeeper type people or whatever in Toronto, because it's easier to kind of set up your little fiefdom there because it's a smaller city. So in New York, I feel like it's just this free for all where, there's so many people doing so many things that you have to be nice.
Yeah, I don't know. People are generally nice, I think, if you don't waste their time. I think that's the whole New York thing. Like, if you go up to somebody and you need directions, you just say, hey, or you should always say hello first, or excuse me, and you just say, where is this place? You don't need to like tell them the whole background. Yeah. If you tell them the whole background, they'll tell you to fuck off.
Yeah, because it's going to be, you're going to ask them for money or something.
Yeah, and then you got a sob story and we know you're a scammer,
Well, I mean, on that note, we're looking at moving because our apartment's so loud.
Yeah.
So we went and looked at a place in Park Slope, and the rent's $28.50. And as soon as I went in, I'm like, this is a shithole.
Yeah.
But I tried to be nice, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, this is not going to work.
You should just like save some time and ask for the address and be like, let's just not waste any time, and I'm going to Google image this thing and see what block it's on.
Well, we did. And
it seemed okay.
I mean, it was like the interior photos, they looked nice on the internet. It was like we got catfished. Is that what the word is? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm out of touch.
Okay.
I think that's the word.
Yeah.
Or you got roped into some, I don't know, whatever. Just don't take that apartment.
No, we're not going to do that.
But okay, so back to music stuff.
Yeah.
Let's not be too adulty here.
Right.
Jex Opolis, who formerly known as
the coroner.
The coroner. You were into music as a kid. Did that start off early? Like, it was your older brother was into it, so you got into it, or?
Yeah, my mom was into music.
Your mom?
My mom's a singer.
Is she?
Yeah.
And what about your dad?
No, he's not into music. He wanted to be into music. To this day, he's like, Jared, when are you gonna give me some damn guitar lessons?
Is that how he talks?
Yeah, pretty much.
And so tell me a little bit about your parents, or if it's too personal, you don't have to.
Yeah, my parents, my dad and my mom, they got married super young. My mom comes from this waspy churchy background. Mm-hmm. So she played piano and did singing lessons and shit. And then my dad is this kind of wild man from the bush who's Métis. Do you know what that is? You know what that is?
Say it again.
Métis.
Métis.
So he's part Aboriginal or Native Indian, and then part French and mix. So he's kind of like this.
Like Australian roots.
Well,
not Australian, but
but yeah, native.
That continent.
Native Canadian.
Native, but there's Aboriginal people in.
Well, that's what there's a whole laundry list of terms, but you can say Indian or, I mean, it's kind of
so a Native American
a Native American, yeah,
in Canada.
yeah. But you say First Peoples or Aboriginal or Native or whatever.
Oh, we don't see. I never heard it called that way. I only heard Aboriginal in I thought that was like a type of Native person in Australia.
Yeah, that. I mean, we're on First Peoples now. I think is the latest iteration.
First Peoples.
But the Métis thing is sort of a distinct thing.
That was
in
what
Canada.
that was what they called themselves within the. So that worked for me.
Yeah,
but I've never heard of it.
So yeah, my dad is Métis, and so I have this kind of culture clash in my house.
Is he's like a full-blooded?
Well, he's
whatever. He's been in Canada for a while.
Yeah, he's like half native or whatever, or it's not quite half. I don't know, but anyway, so there's this kind of.
It's not like Elizabeth Warren or something.
No, he's actually. I'm a member of the Métis Nation of Alberta.
And how does that, and what is that like in Canada? How are the first what do they call it?
First Peoples?
The First Peoples treated in Canada? Did they get totally screwed? Like
probably more than in the States.
Even worse. And did they get like land or like casinos or whatever they got here?
Yeah, there's reservations, but there's all sorts of land claims and things going on.
Still going on.
Well, they're kind of hitting a peak now, and so I'm being from Alberta, which is the oil.
Okay.
The oil place.
They're never gonna get it.
Well, there's a lot of back and forth, and it's really the biggest issue in Canada is the Aboriginal or First Peoples, First Nations thing. That's kind of the big issue, because Canada, the Canadian government wanted to build a pipeline to BC from Alberta, where they. Mm-hmm. I'm actually from Fort McMurray, which is the oil center of Canada in Alberta, and they want to build a pipeline so they can send the oil to China. But to do that, you have to build a pipeline through all this native land and stuff. So it's a huge
issue.
I mean, I don't really keep up with it as much as I should, given my background. But my brother, who's a lawyer in Canada, and my sister's also a lawyer. Actually, they're more involved in it, and so I get they feed me information. But
this is probably a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. They're on the side of the first people. Or do they talk about both sides?
Well, they talk about both sides, but generally from their point of view, there's a whole lot of injustice that goes on.
Yeah.
They deal more with the justice side because they're lawyers, so there's a lot of the incarceration rates for Native Canadians is sky high versus the rest of the population, and so that's kind of their front door into the issue. But again, I'm not an expert on it. I just get info from them.
And were you aware of this, like, as a kid? Was it like a thing, or you just kind of went to the mall?
No, it was, for sure.
So you're...
Like, we would go fishing or trapping or whatever.
Yeah.
Or, like, hunting.
Yeah.
I know that's, like, I shouldn't, it's like, oh, you can't hunt, but if that's your traditional lifestyle. So my dad would go hunting. He still goes hunting. And,
I'm not offended at all.
Okay, well, you're from Texas, too, so... No, but...
Although guns scare me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a gun guy.
Yeah.
I don't own a gun.
Yeah.
But growing up, that was I'm from Edmonton. It's
that's what you did.
Yeah,
It sounds like fun.
It's so far north. It's so isolated, really, in North America. So that was a big part of my.
I mean,
childhood.
It's probably one of the furthest north.
I think it's the largest city.
But it's above Anchorage or something?
No, Anchorage is
a little bit
further north, but Anchorage is smaller than Edmonton.
Is it? Okay.
It's kind of the last big city.
Big city.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like the future. You going to move back?
I don't know.
It's hard here, man. It's not easy.
Well, I don't know, with climate change and stuff. Maybe I will.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. So back to music. So that was there. How was music involved in your life as a young person?
Well, my mom forced us all to play piano.
But that's good.
It was good. I mean, at the time I hated it.
And so you're learning like church songs.
Yeah, classical music.
Classical music. Who was your favorite as a kid? Or you just hated it all?
I like Bach.
Bach.
Yeah, because it was relatively easy to play.
Yeah.
And it sounded really good. But we took this thing called Suzuki method. Have you ever heard of
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
So it's all ear training.
Yeah.
So my sight reading, I can't really sight read that well, but I
But
can.
Lord, you can jam.
Yeah, I can play. I can pick out melodies and stuff.
Yeah, and you know what key someone's playing in and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So it was a thanks, Mom.
Yeah, my mom,
Started your music career.
she did really.
When did it like reach like the dark side? You know, like where you're at now. Like, was there like a moment when you like realized like because you said that she's teaching you like this nice Christian music or whatever, you know, classical stuff.
Yeah.
Was there a moment you like realized there's like another underground or something like that?
Well, getting into Van Halen was huge because they were.
I guess they were pretty naughty, huh?
Well, they had a lot of like sex and alcohol and drug references and stuff, which I didn't get. I didn't understand any of their lyrics until like 5 years
last
ago.
year. Yeah.
So
Yeah, me too.
So but getting into, I had a cousin that was into ministry and like 808 State and stuff, you know. But also we would have, you know, someone would babysit us or something, and they would have a cassette tape. Or like we had neighbors that had they would play football, or like they would play catch in their yard, and they would play extended mixes of like New Order songs and stuff. Or I guess it
So
might
this
have
is
been
like really late 80s, maybe.
No, this is like
19
mid 80s.
Mid 80s. Okay.
Yeah, so like they would play, they were probably playing Italo disco actually.
And they're playing like Erasure au l'amour or something.
Yeah, but just extended mixes, and me and my brother would be like, yeah, these are like these extended versions that you get in nightclubs.
And do you think is that like a more of a European influence that Canada had?
Definitely.
Because that wasn't here. I mean, we had it a little bit, but it wasn't.
Well, there's a whole Canadian kind
like
of
lime.
Canadian Italo kind of like.
I guess that was huge though, huh? Was it popular? I mean, was it like mainstream or it was?
Well, we would have, you know, just there was, like in Canada, for example, there was this dance show on Fridays called Electric City.
Okay.
And they would just have people dance, like sexy people dancing, and they would play the club tracks of the day. And so, I mean, that was in the early 90s.
Yeah.
But I don't think there was any equivalent to that in
Well, yeah, we had like The Grind or something on MTV.
What was that?
It was like one of the guys from that was on Real Life, Eric Neese.
Okay.
And they would have like who's the DJ that always takes his shirt off?
Paulie G?
No, the house guy. No, before
David
that.
Morales.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like he would DJ.
Oh, okay.
And they would play like whatever CC Peniston or something, you know, like.
Yeah, it was like that. But yeah, Canada has a kind of a Euro trash influence or something like, or I mean, again that Quebec angle.
Because you find all these huge, you know, you have like Gino Socio,
Yeah,
which is reaching further back, but then all through the 80s there was a whole like Diorazio, that I never say it right, but he has like a Beneventagi, I don't know, you know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
There's like a duo, and they produce like, you know, whatever, hundreds of like kind of high energy records in Canada. Like I wonder, like, did you notice that as a kid, or that was some kind of like club underground thing?
No, you would hear it. You would hear it on the radio.
It wasn't like a recognizable, like I remember that song was a hit or anything.
You know, I was trying to go through it recently, like just because you know that song "We Just" by Moses.
Yeah.
I swear that was on the radio in Canada. I mean, I can't really remember, but it just, the melody and everything just really, it just seems like that you would hear that kind of stuff
probably
from time to time.
I mean, I know a lot of Europeans like I'll play stuff that aren't super into music, you know, like especially like maybe Spanish people or people from France, and you can play them like some Italian and be like, oh, this is what they played at the swimming pool when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
So maybe it's some kind of crossover like that.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't quite, you know, you wouldn't hear it everywhere, but like in our little town, we were in a suburb. I remember my cousin used to go and line up at the community hall, and on Fridays they would have like a party there, and I'm sure that's what they were playing. I mean, I was 6 or 7, or whatever at the time. So, but definitely in Canada you have that European influence.
Yeah, much more than here.
Yeah, definitely.
And then so you're playing piano and stuff. You go to school. You're doing sports.
Yeah.
Big sports.
Yeah, I played hockey.
Hockey.
Yeah.
That's dangerous, man.
Mm-hmm.
And then when did you branch off from just playing this classical music into your own stuff? Like you start a band, or
Yeah, we had a band in the early 90s. So like
So
when I
you're like
was 12 or
12,
13. So someone lent us a guitar, like a cousin.
And when you say us, that's you and your brother.
Me and my brother, yeah. And so I started to noodle around with it, and I was still taking piano. And I made a deal with my mom where if I would take guitar lessons, then I wouldn't have to play piano anymore. So I started taking guitar lessons, and then you learn how to play a power chord, and then that's
it.
the lights out. Like you can basically play every song.
Yeah.
And my brother played drums in school.
Yeah.
So he played drums I actually played drums in the junior high band too, but he played drums, and so we had a band within like a couple months of this guy lending us a guitar.
Where would you practice? Like at your house?
Yeah, in the basement.
So you had a drum set up and a guitar with an amp?
Yeah.
And you would just like go home after school and
yeah, just
you would like learn Van Halen songs, or
yeah, I couldn't play Van Halen, but I could play
Smoke on the Water.
Yeah, or like I don't know. I actually
You just made up stuff.
Yeah, or I would learn Guns N' Roses songs or something a little easier.
Like Patience.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm trying to think like what I would have played. But my brother's to this day he's a really good drummer, so he kind of pushed me along, because he could already play. So being Van Halen fans, he's the drummer.
Yeah.
So then I have to be Eddie Van Halen, right? So
you better get good.
Yeah, I was motivated to learn.
So you're just playing like rock songs.
Yeah, rock.
In your basement. Did you ever go out and play shows and stuff, or like go to your friend's house and set up?
We did later because my cousins were also
in the band.
So we would, like 14, 15, we would.
And so that's your mom's side or your dad's?
Yeah, my mom's side.
Okay.
So
and they're from the Christian bands.
They're like more Christian.
Yes.
And they lived in Calgary, which is the more conservative city.
So that's like the Iowa of.
Well, it's like the Houston or whatever or Dallas. I guess I can't really compare it to that, but
it's more conservative than where you were from.
Yeah. Where's the mega church? That big mega church? That's in Houston, right?
There's quite a few in Texas.
But the big one where that guy locked everybody out during the hurricane, that's Calgary. So my cousins being from Calgary, they were like a little more conservative. But they were really good musicians as well. So there was, like when you're in a band, you're really competing. There's an internal competition where if one guy's writing a song or one guy gets, like, I remember my cousin learned a Stone Roses song once. And I'm like, shit, I'm going to lose lead guitar duties if I don't practice. So there was that dynamic among the four of us. So we got good fast.
Yeah.
By like 16, 17, we were tight, as we used to say, we were tight.
Yeah. And then you started playing shows. What was the name of that band?
It was called the Buicks.
The Buicks. That's not bad.
It was like okay.
Oldsmobile.
Yeah, we were tight, but at the same time I had been like recording stuff on the PC, Windows Sound Media Player with my sound recorder. So I would actually that project was called Buick Mudbath, which was like this industrial thing. And then they appropriated my name for the band. And just took the Mudbath off, and it became the Buicks. So, but the Buicks were like a pretty serious.
So you were the leader.
I think aesthetically I was, because I was more into music.
With a name like the Coroner.
The Coroner, wow,
Did that develop during the Buicks?
Yeah, a little bit. Like I would wear a beret. Like a beret with.
Now we're talking. Do you still have it?
No.
Oh.
But yeah, like I would wear.
Do you think you could get
sometimes.
another one? Like the same kind as like a regular military one or something?
Yeah, maybe.
A standard issue Canadian military beret?
I don't know. I'm not sure. The styles will come around eventually.
Yeah, it's about to cycle through again,
Yeah,
I guess.
I think so.
And so the Buicks are playing some shows in high school, and you're taking over the world, and then you go off to college maybe after that, or
Yeah, I went to actually.
Did I miss something in that period, or that's pretty much
Yeah, I mean we were.
no DJing or anything?
No, I
like
didn't
that?
DJ, but I had some friends in high school that were into electronic music. So my friend Ryan Duke and Scott Harley, who were I went to a really small high school, but they were into like the Orb and Aphex Twin and
Electronica or
yeah, like Space Time Continuum or whatever, like
Okay.
these kind of what became IDM after that. So I mean, I was exposed to some of that stuff, and they were into industrial music, and like Skinny Puppy was pretty big, and from being from Canada and stuff. So there was I mean, I was into that stuff too, at the same time.
Well, I always feel like there was a big Wax Trax connection in Canada too. I never really understood why, but I guess probably just Chicago was close, and then they sold records across.
Yeah, and also that
And the European connection too.
the
I
European
guess.
connection, and there's like a big. I mean, I found this out later, but there's like a big connection in Toronto, with like there's this guy Chris Shepherd in Toronto who's like he's like the Pete Tong of Canada.
Okay.
And he was really into industrial music and into alternative music, and he had a platform because he was on Much Music, and he did these compilations, and he would do a Friday night radio show, which was on commercial radio, and he would play all the latest dance music. So, and I actually saw him one time in Toronto, because he had this fake English accent, Chris Shepherd, and he'd be like, "Hello, Celebration Generation, this is Chris Shepherd, spinning live from Toronto." Anyways, but he was really into industrial music and stuff in the 80s.
So he didn't talk like that in the normal.
No, he's from like Pickering, Ontario or something. But yeah, so being, what was I talking about? The Wax Trax thing?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Canadians are just, it was big in the States too.
Yeah. No, I'm just curious. We're so close, but I feel like we don't know. A regular American doesn't know anything about Canada. Like they probably couldn't even name Edmonton as a city.
It's true.
So I mean, to learn like these what was the word for it? What was it? Canadian CanCon. That's a new word for me.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to learn more about Canadian music.
Yeah.
Was there like, so you named a couple of guys. What was this guy you just, something Shepherd? What was
Chris Shepherd.
Chris Shepherd.
Yeah.
He was a DJ, and this is mid 90s now.
Yeah,
all through the 90s.
Early
probably.
90s, mid 90s. And there was also there was a show on CBC. Do you know what CBC is?
No.
It's a Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. It's like the
Okay,
Canadian BBC.
Okay.
But there was a show called Brave New Waves,
Mm-hmm.
and I would hear Plastic Man. It was on at midnight, like Fridays and Saturdays. But yeah, they would play. I remember hearing Richie Houghton and Aphex Twin and Future Sound.
And you're in high school.
Yeah, in high school.
And
Yeah.
and are there archives of this stuff anywhere? Have you gone back and gone back and visited, like look at the playlist or see what?
I haven't. No.
So this is just from memory.
Yeah.
I bet it's out there somewhere. But people are starting to put their archives up of older stuff.
I would imagine the CBC ones are there.
Yeah.
And there was one more thing. There was a guy, remember when college radio was
Yeah.
a thing? So yeah, like there was a good college station in Edmonton called CGSR, and there was a show called Cannibals and Christians on from 12 to 3 on Tuesdays or something, and he would play industrial music. So I would stay up and like record it. So you get a 90-minute tape or whatever, and you get 45 minutes and I would listen to it the next day or whatever.
Oh, so you go to sleep and
I
record.
wouldn't. I'm like, I'm not staying up for this.
You don't want your mom to catch you either.
True.
Yeah, I know how that is. You have to like hide your tapes. Like, don't let your mom see your ministry tapes.
That happened to me when
your Andrew Dice Clay or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, my mom. I remember one of my high school friends lent me The Land of Rape and Honey.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, "What is this?"
Yeah, I mean, I have my ministry story is like, I was on the swim team, as many people know, and I would go to. I never missed swim practice, and in high school we had like we would lift weights, and they would let us listen to music. And one day, like the swimming coach, like he was pretty open-minded. He would play like Rolling Stones and whatever. And I put on like Ministry, Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste.
Oh.
And he let us. We listened to like the whole tape. He didn't take it off, but They never let me play music again in the weight room.
Fired.
Yeah,
You were
I was
fired.
on my first DJing experience. No,
Well, I mean, I remember I was listening to Skinny Puppy, and my grandpa, who was like 85,
yeah,
really religious person, he would listen to Pavarotti, was like a secular.
yeah.
Him listening to Pavarotti was like death metal.
Yeah.
And I was playing Skinny Puppy, and he didn't even bat an eyelash.
Probably couldn't hear it.
Well, because to him, I mean,
Just noise.
the difference between Van Halen and Skinny Puppy was like, this much. It's just all shit.
Yeah.
It's like when I hear like dubstep or something. Oh my god, this is garbage.
Oof. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. My parents pretty much let me listen to whatever. Or I think they just were happy that I was in my room minding my own business.
Right.
So I just listened to whatever. My parents weren't super religious or conservative, but pretty, I guess, compared to, I don't know, they're Texans.
Yeah, my
So-
my mom. But I mean, coming from my mom being pretty churchy and stuff, that only makes like when you hear a satanic industrial song, it only makes it better.
Yeah, I mean, I remember like my sister would bring home like when I was a freshman, and then she'd like start driving me to swing practice. She would have like My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult tapes,
Right.
and I was like, ooh, what is this?
Well, because there's
or like 9 Inch. I remember she went to go see 9 Inch Nails, and I was in 8th grade, and I was like, so cool, Pretty Hate Machine, best
Yeah.
record ever.
well, because if you don't have access to it, then it makes it better. And then also being like, I went to church a lot. I actually played in church band too. I played guitar and drums and stuff in church band.
What denomination?
I mean, we went to a Baptist church, but Baptist in Canada doesn't mean Baptist here. It's like a different thing. So just whatever
Church.
Like, there's a thing called Alliance Church in Canada, which is just like white people, white church.
Did you get
basically.
married in that church?
I got married in a United Church. United churches are like the good guys or whatever. They allow women to be priests or pastors or whatever.
You can have sex.
You can be gay and be
Yeah.
So we got married in that church, but
But that's for the family, so the family's happy.
well, I mean,
Traditional wedding.
well, yeah, it was a traditional wedding. Yes.
That's cool. Sorry if I get like your personal religious beliefs here in a
Look,
minute.
It's fine, man. I got nothing to hide.
Got nothing else to do either.
Yeah.
But all right. So that's kid stuff. You were a kid. You were in the church band. You were in some regular bands. You hid your ministry tape. I never really liked Skinny Puppy. They were the guy never shut up. He just sang on the whole time.
Yeah, listening back to Skinny Puppy, it's
There's probably
dog
some
shit.
good ones, but I always try, but it's like the Grateful Dead. You like the idea of it, and then you try to listen to it, and it's not very good.
The beats are really good,
Yeah.
and
But
actually the one guy from Skinny Puppy is from Edmonton,
yeah,
Dwayne Gotel, whatever. How I don't even know how to say his name.
like Gothel's Narrow Bridge.
Gottel. But
Bridge.
Dwayne Gottel is from Edmonton, and so that I'm like, okay, well, at least
If he can do it, I can make
if
it
he
out
can
of
do
here.
it, yeah, if he can do it, I can do it. But then he died of a heroin overdose.
So you could do that too.
Well, it was so depressing because he went back to Edmonton from Vancouver to dry out, and someone sent him a package of heroin from Vancouver, and that's
Yeah.
where you get into trouble, like unfamiliar surroundings. So he shot up and died at his parents' house, and there was an article in the local paper about it, which was really sad.
How old were you when that happened? Was it recently?
17.
Oh, okay. So you were in high school, so that was like a big deal.
Yeah, I had cut it out. I had it pinned to my
So
wall for a while.
goth. So goth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wasn't fully goth because I was playing in this rock band too. So, like, just like the third goth or something.
But so you eventually went off to college
I went to college in Edmonton.
in Edmonton. So the Buicks stayed together.
Well, I went to Europe. I went to Europe after high school
Oh, for
for
what?
6 months just to travel.
Your parents let you do that.
Yeah, I worked for 6 months. I saved like $8,000 or whatever, and I went to Europe for 6 months.
Doing what job?
I worked in a warehouse.
Like stacking boxes.
Yeah, like shipping, receiving. So I went to Europe for 6 months, 6 months.
With a backpack?
With a backpack, yeah, with a Canadian flag on it, which was like a real cliche at the time. But yeah, I went to Europe because I was into British music and stuff, and I was in England and France and shit. But anyway, so the band played on without me because we were a 4-piece. But I came back and I went to school in Edmonton. I did an arts degree.
What happened in Europe? Did you?
I just kind of like hung out, smoked a lot, I drank some
Absinthe.
I drank some absinthe. I didn't have any transcendent clubbing.
No.
I went to I saw The Prodigy at a festival. And I skipped the day before Daft Punk had played. I didn't really care.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just happy to be in Europe, like, you know, sitting on trains and speaking bad French.
Did you go by yourself?
Yeah, I went alone.
And you didn't know anybody there?
No.
And so you just like had your little like
Swiss Army
your
knife?
guide? No.
Yeah, I had my Lonely Planet and I mean, it was easy to meet people when you're 18.
Yeah.
And there was no internet and you're in Europe. I mean,
And you're in a hostel.
Yeah, you're in hostels.
With somebody else with the Canadian flag.
Yeah, or you meet Australians and stuff. And yeah, it was...
And you could talk about Aborigines.
Or you could talk... I don't think they use that term anymore.
Oh, is it offensive?
I don't know. Maybe we'll have to edit this out.
I don't know, man. I haven't heard that. Well, it's a good. Then I learned that I shouldn't say that anymore.
I don't know. I mean, the language changes a lot on this, so
I'm okay with. I wasn't trying to offend anybody,
I know.
So whatever.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
But yeah, so we went. I was the royal we. I was in Europe for a few months, and then I came back to school.
Did you grow your hair out? What did you change when you were back? Did you have like?
I started smoking and
smoke
drinking
cigarettes.
I started smoking and drinking in Europe.
Mm. And what did your mom? Oh, but you went off to college, so your mom didn't have to see that.
No, I mean, in Canada, you don't really. Not a lot of people go off to college. I just went to the local university, so I lived at home for 3 more years, from 18 to 21.
Did you smoke cigarettes at home? You have to like go out back and.
Yeah, I would go out back. I never would smoke inside.
But did your mom know you were smoking?
Yeah, probably. I don't think she was impressed, to be honest.
Probably not.
But I mean, I was a nice kid. I didn't. I wasn't.
Could be worse. You weren't shooting heroin.
Yeah, I wasn't getting like face tattoos or,
And so this is by this time it's 1995 or so, and
97.
Oh, 97 after Europe, and then so grunge is kind of over.
Yeah.
Did that ever kick in really in Canada?
Oh, it was huge.
Huge.
It was huge.
So grunge is over. 97. You go to college. When did it sounds like you had a pretty mellow. There was no like major things. You just kind of like slowly cruised along.
Yeah, I mean, I had the emotional teenage things or whatever, but I mean, generally, yeah, unscathed. I got into the Smiths, in high school a little bit, and started trying to play like Johnny Marr, which I couldn't do until I got a capo, and then I'm like, oh, that's how he does it. So yeah, I mean,
he doesn't have like really long fingers.
Yeah, well, I have small hands, so it's sometimes difficult. But yeah, I mean, I had a nice childhood. I had a pretty mellow adolescence. Surrounded with love and affection from family and friends. And
but then, so what happened that took you across to the other side? I mean, this is all guitar music, pretty much. Even though you have your foray into the industrial new wave stuff. Yeah. Eventually, you got like a Juno 106 or something, or a.
Yeah, I had I got an SU 700.
I don't know.
It's a sampler.
Okay.
I mean, you couldn't even if you went to the store in Edmonton, you couldn't even buy a MPC. They didn't even have them.
Yeah.
So I got an SU 700.
What brand is that?
Yamaha. It's
actually. I know what you're talking about.
It's really sick, actually.
Yeah.
The filters and everything sound amazing.
Yeah.
So I got that, and then our band, the Buicks, we changed our name to Whale Boots. It's like the worst name ever, and we wanted to move to Toronto because if you live in Edmonton and you want to play anywhere other than Edmonton, we would do tours in Edmonton where we would drive to Winnipeg, which is 15 hours. We would drive there in a snowstorm and get paid $50 and play for 3 people and then drive home. So that's why at that time there was no musicians that would come from Edmonton. Like no one could make it out of there. I knew really talented people that never had a shot just because it was isolated. There was no internet.
No one could hear you.
Yeah, no one could
audience.
hear you. Exactly. So you could play Edmonton and Calgary or Saskatoon and Winnipeg on a tour, and you would make $300 and drive 50 hours, and you would come home and you're like, well, why did I do that? But when this band, we played at South by Southwest.
You drove to Austin.
No, we flew. But we played at South by Southwest in '97, I think, and we played at CMJ in New York in the '90s.
When those things still kind of mattered.
When they were
important. They were like scouts. They're labeled.
Yeah, so that was the dream. Like we would get a record deal, and we would escape Edmonton, and the harsh realities of.
What record label did you want to be on? Like Merge or something? No,
we were more pop. We were more pop than that. We wanted to be on a major. We wanted to be on like EMI or like a British label or something, like get on Parlophone and because we were like a little bit more Britpop kind of thing.
Elephant Boots.
Whale boots.
Whale boots, sorry.
So
they're both large mammals.
Yeah, I mean,
are they?
So I mean, we decided to move to Toronto because at least in Toronto you could play in Hamilton and Montreal and Kitchener, Waterloo, and London within a few hours, and also Toronto's the biggest city in Canada, and
it's also a really nice place.
It's nice, yeah. So we went and played one show there, and we're like, okay, fuck it. I'd never actually been there. I'd been to, New York and Europe and stuff, and I'd never been to Toronto. So we went there, and we really liked it, and we moved for a year, and then the band fell apart essentially because we were like in a big city.
Yeah, you have to like pay rent and
you have to pay rent
wash
and
dishes. And
yeah,
stuff.
and so there's 3 of us living in a 2-bedroom, and the band fell apart. But then I got in. I had a friend from Alberta who took me to a nightclub, and he's like, "You have to come. You just got to come to the club, man. Like your band sucks. Just come to the club and hang out." And I mean, I was aware of club music. The rave scene was big in Edmonton and stuff, but it was trance and everything. But anyway, my friend took me to this club called System Sound Bar, and he gave me ecstasy. And then I really got into like deep house or whatever. So that was kind of my first entry into real club music.
What was the guy's name?
Rod.
His
sister lives in New York. It's the craziest thing.
You ran into her on the street?
I ran into her at a club or something, and she was like, "I think you know my brother." I'm like, "What?" But they're from Peace River, Alberta. But anyway, so I really, my friend Rod got me into it, and I was hooked, mostly on the drug part, but I liked the music. I started to understand the music once I started doing ecstasy and ketamine, and so I had this phase, like a 6-month phase, where I would go out every weekend. There was a lot of clubs in Toronto then, like big clubs.
And so what year is this now?
This is like
2000.
2000, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So we would go to System Sound Bar, and there was another.
This is like Electroclash is starting.
It was starting because
this is like adult and all that stuff.
Well, and also there was the Danny Tenaglia compilations that he did for Global Underground, and he put like Anthony Rother, and Miss Kitten and the Hacker, and also Tiga was getting big then. So that was kind of definitely filtering in.
Where's he from?
Montreal.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So that was definitely a flavor that was coming in. But
was he playing in Toronto a lot?
Yeah.
He wore that hat or something, right?
I've actually never seen Tika play.
Didn't he wear? He used to wear like one of those like Dr. Seuss hats.
Really?
I could be totally making this up.
I don't know about that.
I don't. Maybe I should.
But
delete that.
But I mean, maybe he did.
Who knows? I think he's always been a pretty good DJ, I guess.
Yeah, I mean he's been around for a long time. But so that was kind of happening. Although I wasn't really
You were just going to like take drugs.
I was just going to do drugs and hang out and like, but I would be kind of like the rock guy at the club. So people.
Did you wear your eyeliner?
No, I wore a bandana for a while actually.
Like around your leg?
No, like full bandana, but that's just because I was sweating a lot. But
like Guns N' Roses style?
No, like Rambo style or Springsteen style. But yeah, I got into that for a while. But then like the
what kind of shirt? Just like a t-shirt. Oh, it's cold, so.
Yeah, I wear like indie rock T-shirt or something like that.
What band?
My friend's made up band. Like
okay.
he had a band called Escobar, but it had this like
I think you still wear that shirt, maybe.
Probably. My T-shirts are pretty grungy these days, but yeah, I got into properly into club music after that. Like DJ, I would go see DJs and stuff after that. Before I hated DJs before that.
Yeah.
Because I was a like rock guy, musician dude.
That seems to be like, I mean, I've done a couple of these now. It seems to be like that's a period where it became okay for rock people to listen to dance music. That was like DFA kind of came around, and then there's the whole like Airsats Audio in Detroit, which was kind of it crossed over. You could be a rocker dude and listen to that stuff.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't but it wasn't like that for a while. If you were into rock and people were into, I mean, Aphex Twin or whatever, that was different.
It's
different. It was like actual music. But if you were into it was like jock jams or something, or like cheesy. It was house music was cheesy. Yeah. To me, really.
Yeah, I mean, I just always thought it was Candy Raver stuff. I thought Big Pants, Ecstasy, Pacifiers, Junglists.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was until I moved to New York in like '99. I realized like, oh. Yeah, because I was even in San Francisco in the 90s, and there was stuff going on there, but I didn't care. I was buying records, but I wasn't. Every time I heard that stuff, it wasn't for me. I wasn't.
Well, I mean, a lot of it isn't still for me. I mean, I hear a lot of dance music, and I'm like, I don't like this. Yeah. So I mean, you kind of get in where you fit in or whatever, and for me it was, I'll have some more. For me, it was just going to the club one night and my friend basically forcing me to do drugs. And then,
I've never taken ecstasy.
Really?
No.
Wow.
A lot of people told me, they're like, how do you you don't understand dance music. Because when I was in high school, everybody would take it a lot. Like a lot of my friends would take it and I would look at them and I'd be like, nah. Because they do the whole like rolling face and I was like, I'm not. Yeah. I was too self-conscious. I was like, I'm not. Yeah. I'm not going to do that. And plus, I'm pretty conservative. I don't want to like let my emotions show. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I lost my cool for sure for the first time.
I could see that.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it took. That was actually a real turning point.
But were you collecting records like that all that before?
No.
So then, did you realize you wanted to be a DJ, or you
no,
realized
I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be a DJ.
You just started going to all these parties.
I mean, I was serious about music, and I was making an album in Toronto
by yourself.
Well, with the band, but I ended up doing all the work. I had like a mini disc thing, but we were renting we rented a Nord lead when those came out, and like we were essentially doing electronic music.
It was like The Faint or something.
No, it was more like actually what happened was remember when Radiohead went? They got all into Aphex Twin and stuff.
I guess so, but I always hated Radiohead.
Well, the thing that kind of really they blew my shit up because we were kind of doing that kind of stuff, and it became big, and then all the rock bands were doing that. So our band broke up, but at the time we were doing kind of electronic rock mix, and like not rock, but like guitars and vocals and drum machines and synths and stuff. So I was doing all that, and then I mean the timing was pretty amazing because I got taken to a club and basically shown all this this kind of new culture, and was able to transition out of just rock and into making electronic music. So I mean I didn't want to be a DJ. I wanted to be a producer, right? And I wanted to like make make the house tracks that people were playing.
And was that? I mean, your band breaking up or whatever, was that? Did you realize that you could just do it all yourself with this type of music? Was that any type of factor at all? You're like, oh, I don't need to share.
Yeah, definitely.
The duties or.
Well, because two of the guys were in school, so one guy was going into medicine, and the other guy, my brother, was doing law. So they
had futures.
Yeah, they were. I mean,
not like you.
Yeah, not like me. So they did their school stuff, and I'm like, well, I'm just gonna work on music. I actually ended up moving back to Edmonton and finishing my degree. I did a history degree, and so when I went,
what kind of history?
Just all sorts of
general history.
Yeah, I would do like World War II and medieval history and stuff. And I did English and history. So I went back and I finished my degree. And then I stayed in Edmonton for a couple of years or a year or two after finishing school. Like 2000, I moved back just before September 11th. Mm-hmm. So I was in Edmonton, and then I started a electronic band there, like an actual dance, like electro kind of thing.
Whale Boots.
No, it was called DJV and the Abominable Snowman.
DJV?
DJV. Like
DJV. I think you told me this before.
Yeah. So we
DJV and the Abominable Snowman.
Yeah, it was
Snowman or Snowmen?
Snowman.
Snowman.
So that was kind of like a real thing.
And that's just you?
No, it was me and my friend Darren.
Who was in the other band with you?
No, he was like a new collaborator.
A new guy. You met him getting your degree.
Well, I met him at school, but we'd actually played on the same hockey team when we were 6.
Sweet.
And I didn't know who he was, and in school he was like, "Hey man, do you remember me?" I'm like, "No, dude."
Get the fuck away. Did you ever have like a flashback where you like finally remembered him?
No, but what I did is I went and looked through the
and you saw the
archives.
photo.
And I saw the archives, and his dad was both our dads were assistant coaches.
Oh, so your dads were probably really good friends.
Our dads knew each other, yeah. And so they weren't like tight, but they knew each other.
Yeah.
But so we started collaborating, and he was in art and design, and so he was more into like craft work, and he was into adult and all that kind of stuff. He was a little artier than me.
At the same time, there was like Suction Records was in Toronto. Was that on your radar at all?
Yeah, for sure.
Like Lowfish and Solvent.
Yeah.
Did you know those guys, or
no,
they
I
were
didn't,
just kind of?
I didn't know any of them.
You would see the records for sale or hear it at the club or something.
I knew nobody. I knew literally nobody in the music scene. Not all my friends were rock people generally. Well, my friend Darren wasn't, but we were in Edmonton. I mean, Edmonton to Toronto was a 4-hour flight, so like I didn't meet any of those guys.
So it's like going from like so that's like going from how far, if you're gonna, what's a comparison city in America that people?
It'd be like flying from here to Boise, Idaho.
Yeah, from here to the very middle of America, or like all the way across Europe or something.
Yeah, I mean it's a world apart.
I didn't realize they're that far apart. So if you drive, it's like 12 hours.
50 hours.
50.
The drive from Edmonton to Toronto is 50 hours.
It's that far away. So it's closer to Seattle or something.
Yeah, it's a 18 hours drive to Seattle. 15 hours. Okay. It's 12. It's 13.
So it's West Coast.
Yeah, it's 13 hours from Edmonton to Vancouver.
Okay.
I mean, it's very isolated. It's a very far-flung place.
And oil is the thing there.
Yeah, oil. Yes.
I didn't realize it was that far from Toronto.
It's crazy.
So it's up there too. So it's very far north.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to. Canada's a big place.
I mean, maps are free. You can look at I
have one in my kitchen. Well, it's like from like 1953.
A world map, or?
Yeah.
Well, we'll look at.
Or no, it's North America.
Well, you can.
Canada's on there.
Edmonton will be on.
But it probably has like a different name in 1953 or something.
No, it's
like Aborigineville.
It's called Edmonton. It's called Edmonton. But geez. Anyway,
I tried.
Being from Edmonton, yeah, I didn't know anybody. There's some successful musicians from Edmonton now. Mac DeMarco's from Edmonton.
Oh, great.
There's a few other people. But at the time there was no one would make it.
But were you in touch, or how did you find out about stuff is the internet a big thing yet, or you didn't have the addiction you have now?
No, I didn't really. I mean, I would hear stuff in the like when I lived in Toronto, I really got into the club scene, so I would know tracks. I didn't buy them, but I would know them.
But this is like heavy SoulSeek, so if you wanted, or not SoulSeek, whatever,
LimeWire, yeah.
So if you wanted a track, you could instantly
you could
put it on your hard drive and burn
Yeah.
it on a CDR.
Yeah, you could, or I mean, I would get compilations like the Tiga,
Or like Disco Nouveau or something.
Yeah, I got Disco Nouveau, or I would buy I would just buy CDs. Like I bought I don't know, but I mean I'd always been buying CDs.
Yeah.
Not vinyl.
But not for DJing or anything.
No, not for
just,
DJing.
Just for home listening.
Yeah.
And so this is a time you just honed your skills. Probably you're learning how to use your SU 700.
Yeah, my SU 700.
From Yamaha.
I got Pro Tools. I had Pro Tools
With the G3 on your
with the
G3 tower,
Mac G3,
the Aqua one or whatever.
And so I had
Pro Tools LE.
Yeah, Pro Tools LE.
Yeah, I had that too. And like every time you do everything, you have to like wait for it to like render. You like move something a little bit, and you have to like wait like 45 seconds.
Yeah, I actually liked the way
it sounded pretty good. Actually,
it did, and I liked the way that it processed effects because you could. It wasn't an insert, like you could just, you know how you just put the effect on it and then it would render it.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
So you could mangle stuff.
Yeah, but I wouldn't. It wasn't immediately. You'd have to like wait for the form to like show up, go back and.
Yeah, but then
it was fast for back then.
Yeah, it was that was amazing. And so I had Pro Tools and Reason, and I was making.
Oh yeah, Reason 1.0 came out.
Yeah, I was making kind of like I don't know, like progressive house or something at that point.
What makes progressive house progressive? I never understood that.
I think it's just like an amped up, darker version of house. But yeah, I mean. I was doing this progressive house thing, but then once the Electroclash thing had kind of come out, it
made it all the way to Edmonton.
Well, it was and it was fun. It was like fun music, and it was kind of cool and kind of indie or whatever.
And you could wear your bandana.
Yeah, I could wear my bandana and wear like
eyeliner
or like diesel jeans or whatever.
Berets.
Yeah. So anyways,
did you wear the beret and the headband at the same time?
No, the beret was
oh, that was high school.
That was 90s, yeah. That was like going to punk shows or whatever.
It was like singles or something.
Yeah. but the DVS was like a real thing where we did a 7-inch and we would play shows. We would do shows and people would actually come and dance at the shows, which was really cool. And
you're playing like at the rock club or like the
well, we would do our own
house parties or
we would. There was a kind of a loft space called Studio E in Edmonton that we would do stuff.
And you just play through like guitar amps and stuff.
Yeah, we would get Roland bass amps and put the samplers through there and like load floppy disks and stuff. And
what would you play between the songs?
We had two. So one guy would be Darren would play his or our track on the sampler, and then while he was doing that, I would be loading the floppy disks on the other one. So that's why we had two.
So it's like tag team.
Yeah, we were tag teaming the
back
SU700s.
to back.
Yeah, and then sometimes you would load the discs in the wrong succession, and so the song wouldn't load, and then you would have to
keep playing the same song,
or like play a drone on the Juno 106, and that was really fun though.
Yeah, but I think they used to like Doppler Effect would do that before. Like between the songs, they would like take the floppies out and like load them in, so you'd have like this break. It was like really awkward thing between the songs.
Yeah, I mean, but the awkwardness of it was
it was
what
cool.
made it fun.
Everything was about to fall apart.
Well, because it was kind of standoffish, because
people didn't know what you were doing. It was so new to like stand up there with like this keyboard that was like making sounds when you just touch one thing.
Yeah, and so I mean I kind of became more like a performance thing for me, where I would. Were
you like dancing around and singing and stuff?
I wouldn't really sing, but I would just like dance around and stuff,
So you were getting loose.
Yeah, I would get really drunk and high or whatever. I mean, I would not.
You were putting on a show.
Yeah, we'd do a show. We would have.
And what about the other guy? Was he doing it too, or you were more the?
Well, I was more the front man. So.
So you just push load and then dance around.
Yeah, and he would kind of man the controls,
Oh,
And
so you would load and then go dance around, and he would switch to the other one, and then you go and load the other one.
He would do that because I mean if the name was DJV and the Abominable Snowman, so
You were DJV.
no, I was the snowman.
Oh.
So I was like the fun loving guy, and DJ was like the austere German design student guy who would. But we made a bunch of music together.
And is that on your SoundCloud?
No, it's on. You can get
Buy it on iTunes.
Yeah, you can get it on iTunes and stuff.
You get a lot of money from that?
No, none, $0.
Can I rip it from YouTube?
You can. I'll send it to you if you want. I mean,
I'm curious just to skip through it. I don't want. I'm not.
The first thing we did was pretty cool. It was kind of this electro thing, and then it gradually became more commercial, and the last thing we did, it was like a pop record.
Yeah, but
it became Bloghouse basically.
So it was like
over 4 years.
Electro Clash to Bloghouse.
Yeah,
so,
from
2000 to 2005.
Yeah, more like 2002 to 2007, 8.
Because you're in Edmonton.
Well, I moved back to Toronto at one point.
Oh,
to go back to school. I did a journalism. I went to Toronto to do journalism in like 2005.
And it's like a doctor, like you're a
like
whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, like master's level or whatever. So
what happened to the other guy? He came with you?
No, he stayed in Edmonton.
And he's still in Edmonton now.
No, he lives in Vancouver now.
Vancouver. Oh.
Yeah.
Are you still in touch?
Yeah.
And what is he doing?
He
art stuff.
Yeah, he's a
designer,
public, like a urban planner or something.
So, but now you're off on your own again after going to Toronto.
Yeah.
You just stayed. That's when you met your wife.
I didn't meet my wife until I had like 5 years before I met my wife.
In Toronto or back in Edmonton?
In Edmonton.
So
but I would go back and visit and do shows with DV. We became DVAS. And so I would go back because we would get.
Did you have beef with DVS1?
I remember when I started seeing his name and he was like, his music was way better. But it was just this part-time
I don't think he made
thing.
music. He was just a DJ.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. But we would go. I was studying in Toronto and I would go home to Edmonton. But we had a good fan base, so we would get $1,000 to play. And
So
it would
enough
cover
to pay for your flight.
for my flight, yeah. And so I would come back and do a show, and then go back to Toronto to study. So that's when I met my wife on one of those trip homes.
Start bringing home the chicks.
Well, I mean, it was a fun time. There was like people were dancing and having fun. It was MySpace era. It was a different era,
MySpace era. And so this worked out for a while.
Mm-hmm.
You met your wife. I don't know she I don't know. I just say that because I know her now, and you're still, your wife. It's your wife. You're still together now.
Yeah.
So did that relationship brought you to Edmonton again, or she came with you to Toronto?
She moved to Toronto.
And so you guys were in Toronto for a while.
Yeah, I mean the thing with living in Edmonton is that it's
very isolated.
It's very isolated, and it's all my family's there and stuff. I like to go and visit now, but at the time, being a young person there it was difficult because if you're just watching the world happen in other places, and you're in Edmonton, and we had a nice scene there of people that were into cool music, but a lot of them have moved now. There's still a few people that are there that are.
A lot of them go to what, Vancouver or Toronto?
Yeah, Vancouver or Toronto and Montreal too.
Montreal.
Yeah. So I mean, it was hard for me to be there, and so when I was in Toronto, my wife was like, "I'm gonna move out there with you." So.
And that's it. Story's over.
That's it. Yeah. And then no, but I mean, I had a serious job though, right? Because I did journalism
in Toronto.
And it's a really competitive place for journalism. So I was in this kind of hamster wheel rat race for.
What kind? But so this is like for magazines or?
Yeah, like hard news. I worked in TV and newspapers and stuff.
That was before the free content model.
It was just coming into that, so there wasn't, there wasn't like a lot of jobs actually, because everybody was getting cut from news and stuff. So I was doing career stuff. The music thing kind of fell by the wayside for a few years, and I was just working, paying off my student loans,
Mm.
all of 20 grand actually for 2 degrees
In Canada,
in Canada.
that much
Well,
sounds like a lot.
that's 2 degrees, man.
I don't know, man.
People's student loans in the U.S. is like 400 grand.
Oh, not me. I don't have any. I dropped out of school.
Oh, you're lucky.
I went for 2.5 years, and I was.
You're lucky though, man. Like a lot of people are swimming in debt instead of swimming at the Y or whatever.
Here we go. All right. So you're in Toronto and you're on your own. You're working as a normal person,
Mm-hmm.
and music kind of you're over. You're not over it, but you have to pay rent and be a grown up for a little while.
Yeah.
And were you doing any kind of music stuff then, or just kind of partying?
Well, the DVS thing was kind of still happening, but
you were in separate places.
yeah, and so it kind of just kind of petered out. But we did an album. We did our
But you were
last,
releasing this on your own label, or
well, we started by doing it on our own label called Mandroid, and then I worked with this Canadian label for one last CD. We did a release. It was supposed to be a vinyl release, but everything got fucked up with it. It was a horrible experience working with this label. They fucked up every aspect of it, and it was just the worst thing ever. And so I quit after that. I remember we played a show.
and the label's probably really successful now. Or
No, they're not successful.
don't
at
even
all.
exist.
They've like destroyed the lives of more people than than
Donald Trump.
yeah, maybe not that much, but yeah, I remember I was playing a show with the band, and I'm like, I'm never doing this ever again, and that was it. I quit.
So you retired.
Yeah, retired. That was 2010 or something.
Yeah, and then you came to New York.
Yeah, pretty much.
And what brought you here?
Well, my wife wanted to move here.
And you were married already.
I was married, yeah.
And so she got a job, a real grown-up job.
She wanted to move here for work, yeah. And so
you were like, all right, let's go.
well, because I mean, this journalism scene or whatever it's a tough. I mean, I started my label in like Good Time, and I started in 2013.
And you were already in New York, or you were still there?
No, I was still in Toronto.
So it just started there.
It just started, yeah. And the next year we moved here.
And what, you had one release or something?
Two.
And they're only your stuff? Or a couple other...
Yeah, well,
Roberto's on it.
Roberto did one, and then me and Roberto did a couple collaborations as Conga Radio, like some kind of deep house kind of stuff. But it's mostly just stuff that I've done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had started the label, and my wife wanted to move here, and I'd been DJing more, and I thought, okay, great, let's go.
But I mean, it's weird to me that, I mean, you're when I play with you, you can like mix records and play records. It seems like you've been DJing for a long time. When did that just picked it up? You're like, I'm just gonna buy records and DJ now.
Well, I mean, I had DJ'd
In Toronto.
in Edmonton too. I mean, I had a friend.
You just picked it up.
Yeah, friends like, do you wanna DJ at my? I have a friend, Nick Koza, who has a label in Edmonton. He's a producer, and they have this label, and so they did a party called Normal's Welcome, and he was like, you want to come and DJ? So me and my friend Darren would go play, just with CDs, we'd play like Axel F and
That's a good song.
or whatever,
Fletch.
Yeah, like exactly the Fletch soundtrack.
Back and forth.
Yeah, and like, or I don't know what I would buy the occasional record or whatever. I have like a Gino Socio record or whatever.
Yeah.
But so I knew how to mix. I could mix, and then in Toronto I started playing more, because there was this place called the Drake Hotel, and you could get $300 to play. So I would go DJ there occasionally, and I'm not really serious about it, but just like learned.
Yeah, picked it up along the way.
Yeah.
And you're more a record collector now than when you were young. Before it was just CDs and stuff.
Yeah, CDs and stuff, but I mean, I don't even really collect stuff. I'm trying to find cool music to play now. I actually was thinking of, because if I move apartments, I don't want to move any. I'm just gonna sell everything.
It sucks.
Well, how many?
I had 120 or something like that boxes of records up four floors.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
It
Really.
almost killed me. It was stupid, but I don't ever want to move again. Hopefully,
Well, I mean, that's
without
the
getting
thing.
rid of them. But
Exactly.
So, but I mean, the other thing too is that it happens. When you come to New York, it's a disco town, and so New York, something happens when you come here. I don't know if it's the energy level or the different people or what it is, but when you come here, suddenly dance music is everywhere. You know, whether even I wouldn't even call it dance music. I would call it DJ culture, because anywhere you go, you know, you have this, like, even with rap music or, you know, soul, soca, reggaeton, they all have this like DJ thing going on in New York, and it crosses over to house, techno, whatever Brazilian music, you know, lounge, you know, hotel lobby, rich people, you know, like it's something is here, and it like it catches you, and you buy records. I don't know what it is.
Well, I mean, I'd been buying stuff in Toronto, but I mean,
it probably multiplied when you got here.
when you I would just go to A1 I would come down and visit. I would come to New York on vacation and stuff, and I would go to A1.
But I mean, that's the other thing too that I guess probably makes it easier, is that you know, you can't really you can buy new records here, but you can buy used records probably better than almost anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
For cheaper. Like the dollar bins here are just, you can, you know, one of the guys that Jeremy from A1 always says, you know, like, I can make you a DJ set out of the dollar bin. Like I can fill, you know, you can go in there and spend $30.
Yeah.
And you can have a 2-hour DJ set.
Yes.
Like within, you know, 30 minutes, you know what I mean?
Well, when I moved here, I had quit my job.
Yeah.
In Canada. I did some kind of freelance stuff, but I would just go to A1 and just go in the dollar bin. I didn't have any money, but I had time, so I would just go
look for the good ones.
I would just go and I would find amazing stuff that, I mean, I'm still playing to this day, like the last 4 or 5 years of just going there. I don't go there as much now because I have a kid now, just had a baby, so I can't really get out as much to go digging. But yeah, I mean, moving here, it changed.
Kid will be old enough soon, you know.
Yeah, he's almost there now, but
just like leave him on the top.
4 months, yeah. But I mean, just moving here.
Lock him in the bathroom or something.
Well, do you know Patrick Billhard?
Yeah.
He used to. I would see him digging with this baby, and you know, kid. I saw on Instagram the kid is like a healthy, happy child now. So
yeah, I mean, you know.
But yeah, I mean, like going to A1 and everything, it changed the whole, my whole DJ vibe, if you will. Because before I would play with it. I mean, Toronto has some good records too, but it doesn't have the heritage that New York has, definitely.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. They're just so cheap here. There's just so many, you know, like every single, whatever teenager in New York had a set of turntables and had a record collection. And, you know, and when they finally got their job at the MTA or you know, as a doorman or whatever, their mom sold their records or threw them out whenever, and you know, and they're now available at A1.
There's so many 12 inches, and then you know, you can just find, like at the thing, you just find stuff.
I also found out too is that I was talking, I don't remember exactly who told me, but for a little while I was hanging out with DC LaRue, like working on music. He's like he was on Casablanca, like a disco guy. Yeah. And then at the same time, it was before what Charlie's record store is called, the one next to Sonic Groove on Carmine, or across the street, whatever. It was like the one where everybody went after the Paradise Garage. But
right, okay.
I was starting to, and then also at the same time I was like pressing records with Will Sokolov and then going to Judy Weinstein for Downtown Records. And what I found out is that a lot of the New York record sales, like they would put promo only. The people at the warehouse, like the people pressing the records, they would put promo on it, so they wouldn't have to like mark them with the sales, and they were just selling them out of the back to all the record stores. And so a lot of the records in New York are just like it's kind of a bootleg, but they're like from from the labels, and they would just say, because so much stuff in New York you find it says for promotional use only,
Right.
and they're making selling tens of thousands of promos of like
Yeah.
whatever records, like Larry Levan mixes or whatever. So those records like weren't on the sales list. They were promos, and they were just sold out of the back.
Well,
like
they're
the
just
guys working at the clubs, and those are all here now.
Yeah, and it was probably basically almost free to make them in a way, because they're just yeah, like that.
It's just got it still works as far.
But yeah, like just to have to have that access here is really it's been great.
It's a weird place. But now let's get more into modern times. So you became Jex Opolis at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. I mean, the first time I remember seeing you, was it the first time I met you? It was like outside that place on like North 6th or something, and you were with Diego. Maybe.
Oh.
Or maybe was it there? Or maybe it could have been at the yoga place too, the like body actualized.
But we played together though once.
Oh, that was with Yusu.
With Yusu, yeah, at Elvis Guest House.
That was weird.
Did I meet you? Was that the first time?
No, I think I met you with Diego Herrera before.
Yeah, Suzanne Kraft.
Yeah.
And
I was like, who's this guy who has the same glasses as me?
Yeah, I used to have those glasses.
The Sally Jessies.
I had 2 pair, and they both broke, and now I'm just.
These are metal. That's why they lasted so long.
Oh, okay.
They're aluminum.
I need to get those.
I can't find. I've tried to find another pair. I've been searching. Like I'll like look on eBay every few months just to get the same pair because they've lasted so long. I was like,
it's a good look. I don't
want to buy more glasses. They're so expensive. These were like $20.
Yeah, I got 2 pair in Chicago at some vintage shop, and then both of them broken. So yeah, but
you got to get metal ones.
I need to get metal.
They're aluminum.
Ones.
Aluminum is a good one.
Or as they say in England,
aluminum. No, I can't even say it now.
But yeah, I maybe met you with Diego because he stayed with me. I mean, just shortly after I had moved here, he.
Yeah, I think that, and it was
that.
What was that place? Jiffy owned that club there, and Evan Weiner worked there, and it was like on by Bedford, and like North 6, and it had all the.
Which place?
I can't remember the name of it now.
Me and him were there?
Yeah, I thought so. And then, or maybe I don't know.
But anyway,
whatever.
Yeah, I mean, Jex Opolis was my MySpace name, and then
from what?
Well, just I have no idea. I think it was I was Jez for a while, and then like Jex was like the hacker version, like a computer hackers type.
Yeah,
like Matrix.
Jez is no good. No.
Yeah, Jez is too
little too close to jizz.
Yeah, no. No, I don't want no jizz.
Jex Opolis. That sounds like a porn.
Yeah, no, none of that. So, Jex I needed a name for. I had made some track. I mean, going back in time now to Toronto. I needed a name because I'd been making music, so I just put that on there, the first record, and then I'm actually thinking about coming up with a new name or something, like my rebrand.
First People.
Well, or like rebrand as like Pierced Brosnan or something.
No, you shouldn't do that. You're trying not to let it out your true persona. I can feel it.
What, like bad puns?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But but you're doing pretty well now. Let's talk about modern times. Let's talk about Jordan Peterson. No, no, and cancel culture and stuff like that. No,
he went to rehab. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, wow. He's from Edmonton.
Is he?
Or he's from Fairview.
You got excited.
Well, because it's like I'm looking for people, Edmonton. People are like, where's Edmonton? Well, Jordan Peterson went to school there. He's from there or something.
But he's not a professor there.
No, he's in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, he went to rehab, so.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Yeah.
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
He looks like he's got these teeth thing like that looks like he takes drugs.
Drug teeth?
No, like it's like some balance is not right and it like manifests in his mouth.
I mean, I feel like I'm kind of too old for. I'm married and stuff, so I'm kind of too old for his target demographic.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it's fine. You know,
Whatever.
whatever. We don't. I'm just joking. We
Yeah.
don't talk about it.
yeah.
But what else can we talk about that's new and modern that can get us into trouble, but we can like briefly skirt around it or tiptoe?
It's your show, man.
But if we didn't have the camera on, you would have like 16 ideas.
Would I? I don't know.
Probably. I think you're tired. You went running today or something.
I did go running, and then I got stuck in the rain.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know.
But so you just went to the one thing I remember, like the first thing I really remember, like a Jex Opolis thing, is that you made this video with your iPhone, and you like are like wearing like a tracksuit, like walking around, like shaking your butt, and I was like, this is cool. He just like made a video. He doesn't care, like what? And it was "Look at My Car."
Yeah, Look at My
That's
Car.
the song. So if anybody hasn't seen this YouTube video,
Check it out.
It's pretty impressive. It's a all iPhone.
Yeah, all iPhone.
And you filmed it, or
I filmed it. Yeah.
the whole thing?
Yeah.
So you went out by yourself with a tracksuit.
No, I'm not actually in a tracksuit.
Oh, I thought. Don't you have like weird pants on or something?
That's not me.
Oh.
That's not me. I had some help with it, but yeah, I shot.
Some stranger's butt.
Well, I know the person, but anyway, it's my wife. Okay. Newsflash. Basically, like the only person that would be in my video is my wife. So, yeah, I don't know. I just made the video for it, and that was like in the Facebook. Remember when Facebook video was a thing?
Yeah, I don't know. My life is totally.
But you could put stuff like Facebook video. You would get, it would go viral kind of amongst your friend group. So I made this video and then I put it up there and it got like 5,000 plays in a day, which was amazing. I mean, this is only 3 years ago, but I feel I deleted my Facebook a little while ago, but yeah, that was fun. That worked well.
And what,
you know,
and some other stuff that's going on too. Like you seems like you play a lot of. You played so much with Beats in Space parties that I thought you had a record on Beats in Space.
I mean, maybe Tim is trying to get me to do a record on his label. He's never really been like, you should do a record on my label, but
He doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's gonna ask.
maybe that's why he doesn't text me back anymore, because I haven't. No, I'm kidding. he does. But I mean, Tim kind of hooked me up, man. He put me on the show, on the Beats in Space show, in 2015, and I feel like since then I kind of it's like, oh, this guy is not just some Canadian. He's actually like a real. He has his own label and he knows how to DJ and all that stuff. So shout to Tim, man.
But there's no like there's no like. People don't think like you're not like for some weird reason you're not like exotic. For some, like, you're from Edmonton and it's really weird if you think about it. But for some reason you're just like, now you're a New Yorker. You're like here and you're like part of it.
But I mean, what
you never like exploited your like where you were from. Like, you're like,
how would I do that?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Because there's no identity like that people can associate with where you're from.
Yeah.
Like it seems like some people will come here like, oh, I'm from Chicago and now I'm in New York, and they would like exploit that.
Yeah.
But you came here and you just like, yep, I'm just part of this whole thing here now.
Well, because no one knows what Edmonton is.
It's 50 hours away.
It's a
57-hour drive.
A 57-hour drive from New York, and no one cares about it. No one knows. It's hilarious. I mean, I'm from there. I like to go visit and stuff, but there's nothing to really put it on the map. It's like Mac DeMarco and Robert Goulet and
Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, and Jordan Peterson and
Rehab.
Who else is from there? Tommy Chong?
Is he
from Edmonton?
Like Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, Cheech and Chong. But actually Edmonton, I went back there last year, and my friends had been telling me for years to go to this flea market because they had records, and I'm like, yeah, I live in New York, I don't care. But I finally went to this flea market last year, and all of the good records have been taken, like all the tracks. This collection they had all the tracks, all the, everything. everything that had come out from 1980 to 1990, and the only thing that was left was like Bad New Beat and kind of like Euro disco and high energy. But it was amazing that I spent $500 there.
Yeah, I like all that stuff too.
Yeah, so I mean, Edmonton there's a heritage there, but just no one cares about it, basically.
Yeah. So you went to go play Dick Mantle this year.
Mhm.
What was that like? How did that happen? They just emailed your booking agent, or?
No, they got in touch with me about a year and a half ago about doing some music for their label. Maybe 2 years ago, like over Instagram or something.
They must have seen your Facebook video.
Yeah. I mean, I've been releasing music now for
Or heard you on Beats in Space.
Yeah, or maybe they heard me on Beats in Space, or just heard some music that I'd done, and they just hit me up like, "Hey, do you have any stuff that you haven't released?" And so I had a couple tunes that I had done that I hadn't released, because they're a bit more. My label's pretty chill. It's like chill out music, and so I sent it to them, and they liked it, and they put it out. And I got invited to play at the festival, which was really cool. And
which stage did you play?
I played the Red Light Radio stage, which is the small stage.
But that's the one that's for the radio station? Like directly they're broadcasting live from it, or there's another one?
They were broadcasting.
It's kind of in the middle there, like by the food trucks.
Yeah, by the food trucks.
Okay.
Yeah, so I played that, and I had a great set. It was really fun. I did some good prep for it, but I played like a bunch of different stuff. I played.
You played live?
No, I DJ'd.
You just DJ'd. Okay.
Yeah, I just DJ'd.
That's way easier.
The live. I've been playing live in Europe. I played live in Europe a few times this summer, and every time the voltage thing, I fried so many AC adapters because they don't have AC power there.
Yeah.
And then finally I figured it, had figured it out and figured out the rider and everything. And I was playing in Corsica, and one of the stagehands just like plugged it in and fried it. And so, yeah, the live. Do you ever play live?
No, never. It's hard, man.
It's so hard. I mean, when it goes well, it's really good and it's a big payoff. But
I always feel like I think a good live instrument is the guitar, because like people know how to handle a guitar.
mm-hmm.
Guitar, vocals, and then a computer. Like I don't know how else to do it that makes sense. Like you're gonna bring your 808 or in your Juno. It's like.
Well, I mean, I have my live set. I do guitar. Juno 106, which everybody has.
Yeah,
somebody has one, so that I can get that on a rider.
But then sometimes they're messed up, though.
Yeah, they're completely fucked.
Yeah.
They have dead notes. The voice chips are dead.
Yeah.
So I mean, the whole live thing. I have some weird compulsion to do it. But every time I do it, I'm like, I'm never doing this ever again. Halfway through the set, I'm like, I'm never doing this ever again. And then on Monday, I started thinking like, oh, maybe I should get a Octatrack instead, or maybe that'll make my set better.
I think an Octatrack, I think, is pretty much like using a computer.
Mm-hmm.
You may as well just use a computer.
I think so, yeah.
And the other thing too that I've seen people do that, like Eddie Roche Secret Circuit does, that I really thought is cool, is that he asked for a CDJ, and he just plays some backing tracks on a CD, and like plays along with it.
Yeah, that's not.
I mean, and like New Order and Depeche Mode did that too, you know, but they just had a tape machine, so it looked cooler,
Yeah.
Same idea.
Well, I mean, I use an MPC, and
but still, that's huge to carry around,
Well, it's
the small
MPC
one.
1000, so it's not that big. But yeah, the playing live thing, I just feel like, for me, being 41, male, whatever, I think all my musical references are becoming out of date and stuff. I mean, as a DJ, really, like I can't keep up with everything. So if I play live, then at least I can do my show or whatever, and I'm like just standing there.
But I mean, I think that I've kind of realized this lately. I could be wrong, but it seems to me like the thing that always kind of sticks around is authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to be, especially, it was kind of like self-care was kind of popular. Now it's authentic people are popular. If you're do me, do you. Yeah. So if you're doing your show, it doesn't matter how old you are or what was popular before. I mean, unless you're like straight up ripping somebody off, if you're doing your thing,
Yeah.
it should be okay. You know what I mean?
Well, that's and I mean with DJing, it's hard to do that because
You're playing other people's music.
you're playing other people's music, but then also just with the way that music works, with like DJ music works with mixes DB and Discogs and track lists and track IDs and stuff. I mean, so you have a signature track that you play it once and then everyone has it. So
Well, I think it's better not to look. Don't look at that stuff. Just keep playing it. Who cares?
yeah, I agree to a point, but so much of DJing now is about being
Original.
or just being kind of like I'm gonna blow your mind with all these sick tracks that I have that nobody else has.
But I don't think that's reality. I think that's the internet. I think when it comes down to actually playing in the club, if you're good, you're good.
Yeah, but so much of the DJ
Getting booked, it's gonna change. It'll.
think so.
Yeah.
I think it's only getting more.
No, I think the people that are good will it's gonna rise to the top again. I think this whole.
I don't know, man.
Well, I think what's going on now is that
But am I good? I don't know. Seriously, I mean, like that's
well,
the
you
thing.
you wouldn't do it if you didn't think you were good at it.
I could be an egomaniac. I could be delusional.
I think that's what it takes to do it. You wouldn't do it any other. If you didn't have that, you wouldn't do it. And I mean, like it seems to me like what's going on now across all, it wouldn't. It doesn't. It's not just music. It's all culture. It's like art. It's comedy. It's movies. It's that your image and your social media following has become more important than the content. I mean, of course, good content always rises above, but it seems to be like that it really is a major factor now, so.
Well, I just think that it's so hard to say this is good and this is bad. I really, because to me, a lot of the stuff is shit, but other people like it. And then in a year, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I like that. So and I'm not the arbiter of what is good or not good. I just try to do what I do. If people like it, great. If not, I mean, that's with DJing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the last 6 months or so, I just play what I like. And before, I would try to pander to people and try to play maybe play some kind of new kind of big room thing or whatever. But
I think people are open to that now. I think it's people see that you're doing and you're playing. Like if you're up there playing a song and you're enjoying it and singing along, I think people like that.
I think so too. So I mean, all I can do is that.
But I mean, I talked about this with tracks. We couldn't really get an answer, and he was like saying, he was trying to argue with me, that not argue, but we were having a discussion about the 80s were like this classic era, and I was trying to get him to express to me what makes things good, like why can you say you have 10 people and you play them 5 tracks, there'll be some reason why this one track everybody likes it.
Mm-hmm.
Like and there was like a lot of stuff that's older tracks, these 80s tracks, they're classics, and they have this something. And what is that thing? Like that was one of the things.
Melody?
I don't know. Yeah,
that's
no.
To me it's
a catchy tune.
Well, it's a good song. It's melody, and I find a lot of new music is
pretty lazy.
Well, sonically, it's really good. So it's that. I find with DJing now, it's that balance between finding something that's a good song and then finding something sonically that, because sonics in the club matter. Like you need something with a big kick, and
that's what's going on now is this stuff that's kind of like, well, I mean, the thing that now that I really, it can work, but it gets old after a while. Is this music? It's like one sequence, and then they change the drums for 6 minutes.
Right.
Like the melodic sequence is pretty much the same. Maybe they, change the preset that it's the MIDI is feeding to, and filter it or something.
Yeah.
Or add a fix to it, but then they just change the drum pattern.
Well, it has to.
It's pretty lazy.
You need like a good riff.
Yeah.
Do you know that there's a Todd Terje track called fuck, I forget what it's called now.
Inspector Norse.
No, it was the one that before that.
I Feel Space.
No, that's Lindstrom.
Oh.
But there's a Todd Terje track where it's one riff,
And it works.
and it's a good riff.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's like the Oni Ayun thing kind of too.
which one?
Oni Ayun, the person from The Knife, they had that solo record, the blue one with like the wolf on it.
Oh, I don't know what.
Oh, it's another one. It's kind of like a...
But it's a good riff.
Yeah, it's repetitive. It has the same thing too, you know, like...
Yeah, I mean, it's like rock music. You need to. I think sometimes people make a track. I mean, okay, I do this. I make a track and I make it work, and then it's done.
But
like,
it's just like some...
But it's not. I'm like, this isn't even good.
Yeah. But they put it out anyways.
Because you already spent 3 hours making it, so you need to get like some ROI on that shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's hard to step back sometimes. But a good club track is a beautiful thing, and it needs to have that, which I guess is a luxury that DJs have, where you can play something and see if people respond to it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, I'm actually nervous about playing my own stuff out, because if I know that if it doesn't work, it's going to be like
You can never listen to
a
it.
soul slap.
Yeah.
So it just has to be good.
There's a Conan O'Brien, when he wasn't allowed to be on TV for a little while, he had the show called like Serious Jibber Jabber, and he had one with Jack White, and Jack White was saying that he never makes a playlist before he plays live, and he just like based on what the crowd does, he like plays a different song, and I thought that was pretty interesting.
Wow.
And he was saying that, and that felt like he was like being like a DJ or something, like
yeah,
I'm gonna adjust and play this fast song, or this slow one didn't work, or like
right.
I don't know where I'm headed to, but I thought it was an interesting point, like where this crossover between, we're still sharing music, you know what I mean, like this thing between DJing and playing live.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it seems like it's time where live music is going to come back again, and
I think it.
like,
I think it's getting there. Yeah.
Skills, like someone that can play the guitar or play the trumpet or whatever, is going to be more appreciated than just someone up there playing someone else's tracks.
Well, because I think what happens is that the real skills of DJing at one point were you had to be able to mix vinyl, which is kind of hard to do well in a club when you're drunk and people are bumping into you and stuff. So that was the first barrier. But you break that down, and then you still need
tastemaker.
Well, you still need taste or whatever.
Yeah.
But now, you can. A lot of people, you can just find cool music from someone else's mix, or whatever. And then when you keep going down the pyramid or whatever, and then at the base, I think where we're at now with a lot of it is it's just like who are you as a person, and then it comes down to like how do you do on social media or whatever, because it's easy to mix now, it's easy to find music. So
I mean, it should be a good thing, and I just think it hasn't quite boiled all the way down, like the fact that everybody has access, like if you can afford a USB stick and some headphones, you can be a DJ now, which is cool, It hurts, somebody like me who's spent years buying all these records, and you like want to be mad at them, but you should.
Sorry, man.
But you shouldn't be, But I understand that it's cool that everybody can DJ now, but we still need to get through, who's good and who's not. Like some people can read a crowd and can play a crowd and can pick taste and can judge what's going to be, and I think that should be.
But
important.
I was just saying that now with my DJ sets, I don't read the crowd. I show
You
up
just
with
play.
I show up with like the 50 records that I think are cool, and I'm like, fuck you guys, man. This is what I'm gonna play, because
Oh man, I'm the exact opposite.
But I always thought when I read the crowd, then they hated me for it. It almost goes back to like a rock thing. I mean, it depends on the gig.
Yeah.
I'll do a hotel gig or whatever, and I have to. I'm like, oh, you guys like.
They're eating dinner now, so
I'm like, you guys like some Roy Davis Jr. or like you guys like Larry Heard or whatever. Is that? does that work? But I mean, in a club, people, if you're the headliner, people are there to see you, and you're like, well, I'm gonna play you some weird shit.
I get it. I'm really bad now. Like I've been doing these. Like I open at the big room and at Good Room a lot now, and I'm like so bad now where I have like auditory hallucinations about people like saying how bad this music I'm playing now. They're like, what is this guy play? Like maybe I'm really hearing them say that, or maybe I'm not. And then I'll get all paranoid.
What do you? Well, I mean, when I've played with you, you were just playing like major label industrial. So are you playing that then, or what?
No, I mean at the warm up set, I feel like is like when people first walk in the club.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard. You know, you're playing from 10 to 1 or
Sure.
10 to 2, and you're trying to like people come in and like feel comfortable. So, you know, I want to play all this like really pretty, like industrial weird stuff, but I've realized recently that it might be a little too sleepy, and then it's better to play like boogie or disco, kind of like feel good kind of.
I mean, look,
but people like some people like one and some people like the other, so you want to try to go back and forth.
Sure.
You know?
And I did recently do that opening slot. Actually, the only time I've ever played in the big room was a couple months ago, and I opened for Tim.
Yeah, and there's nobody there.
There was no one, so I was like playing Coil or something.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, I mean, I didn't show up there with like the fuck you. Here's my like here's my like weird Italian thing that I'm gonna play. No, I was working that night for sure. But I mean, with DJing and stuff, it's like people. I do believe now at this point, it's like you kind of have to tell them what they want, unless you're opening, and then you have to play like disco edits.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. Opening's hard. I see. Those are my favorite DJ sets. When you. Like, that's another reason why I like Good Room, because I feel like you get a lot of people that aren't there to see you. They're not there to see the DJs. They're just there to go to a party that has boom, boom, boom. So if you can, whoever shows up, if you can get them to like it, like I like those kind of sets. Like for me, that's like winning. Not just people that came to see you for the party and you play the, I mean, whatever. It's too easy, you know.
I also like the boutique DJing.
Yeah.
Where you get, they know who you are, and they listen to your SoundCloud mix, and so they're expecting weird music, and they get weird music.
Yeah. But where do you do that?
Well, I don't know.
Like
you get booked to play
your
somewhere.
imagination.
No, but you get booked to play somewhere, and then you know, if you manage to pull it off. But again, like I was with DJing, I coming from a live music background, I find it challenging sometimes because I'm like, well, just fucking dance, okay? It's like, it's all the same anyways. It's like a fucking 4/4.
Yeah, I mean,
you know
what? I mean, I won't say who, but some of my producer friends, they just say all you need to do is have a kick drum in the music, and you're just fine. That's like I think that's more of a European attitude. I think it's different. It's different here. I don't know. I mean, I'm still trying to figure it out. For me now, I have a lot more fun playing in the U.S. and then I mean, of course I like to go to Europe and see my friends, and there's a bunch of great places to play. But for now, it seems more like people don't know the music as well, and it's more fresh, and they're hungry for it. You know, I don't know. I'm enjoying it.
But I mean, you get in Europe and stuff, you have people who are so clued in. So you're getting these micro genres and stuff that are, and then people are playing. I'm like, okay, cool, break beats. Yeah, I'll play some breaks, man. I'll
you got a lot of them, or
no, but I got some breaks. You know, I got some breaks. But okay, cool. But then, you know, you kind of get you scroll through the genres, and I feel like it's some of the parties and stuff, and I'm like, man, we're up to like 145 BPM, and we're doing. And then some of the stuff, I'm like, this is just the crystal method. This is like sounds like the crystal method. This is what we used to call sports bar techno.
Yeah.
Because break beats and acid lines, that's
and
a
like
one
shitty sample.
Yeah, and that's like a one-way ticket to sports bar techno world. Like we already did that. Or like in London, everybody's into jazz, and then the house guys are into jazz, and I'm like, this seems familiar, and so I'm like, wait a second, we're just like this is Jamiroquai now.
Oof.
And I actually don't hate Jamiroquai, but like the whole kind of like Giles Peterson, jazzy New York house or London house thing. I'm like, well, we already did this. This is like Ben Watt, Buzz and Fly, like.
No, I'm not. I'm good.
Well,
I didn't like it when it came out the first time, and that's the other thing. Like people, like, I'm gonna do it, but like there's a new zine, called This goes back further than that, but the new what's the zine called? I bought an ad in it. Paul and Barbie's
Love
thing.
Injection?
The new Love Injection has an article about King Street, and it goes back. I mean, it goes back further than that. Like the Dope Jams guys always loved all that King Street stuff, and it's a big New York label.
Yeah,
but I don't get it. Like I don't know. They like name all these records, and it's like just stuff that I would just always just skip over. I try to listen to it. Like there's a couple Carrie Chandlers that I could get. But
yeah, I mean,
Masters at Work. Like
I was gonna say Masters at Work.
They got like one song.
I don't know, man. It's not really my. It's not. Really
I don't
my
get it.
steez.
You know what I mean? I don't. But is that popular now or
no?
I don't think so.
It's not.
It's just with Love Injection, they really like this New York.
Well, because it's a New York zine,
Loft
and they're doing really they're doing like.
But I mean, even Dope Jams was into it too, and I shared a lot of taste with those guys. But then they would add this Joe Clausel, King Street stuff, and yeah. But I mean, like the one that's on there, there's like that D2, D4. Is that on King Street?
What, like the one that samples of Manuel Gotching?
Yeah, it's like E2, E4, but it has like a kick drum on it.
Oh, maybe.
I don't. It's on one of those labels. Like that's one that I'll play. There's like a couple in there, but I never quite got it. I don't know. I'm just missing something, I guess.
Well, I mean, it probably goes back to like if you're like
the Loft.
Well, I mean, are you like a band guy?
Yeah.
Well, it goes back to that because when I was in bands or whatever, this is really funny. Like when I was in bands, thank you. People would be like, I can't come to see your band tonight. I'm going to the DJ thing. I'm like, fucking DJs. But now all those guys are old and they still play vinyl, and they're like, fucking goddamn CDJ playing, like kids or whatever. And I'm like, see, now you know how I feel.
Well, I mean, what the way I feel about it is that those people would never have let us into their club. Like when I first moved to New York, it was still kind of they had this like tribal was on the way out. It was still here, but it was still going on. You go to the club and they have like the bongos and the DJ, and like.
Well, like at Vinyl with Tenaglia or something?
Yeah. I mean, they would have that, and there would be like smaller clubs. It was a pretty like regular thing to go to like a little bar, and they have like a bongo player with the drummer. Right. I just caught the very tail end of it.
That's a kind of a Loft thing too, though.
But I never felt like I was welcome there. Wasn't really my.
Well,
I guess I was just never into it.
I don't know. I went to the Loft a few years ago, maybe 4 years ago.
I'm gonna go to the Halloween party.
The Loft one?
Yeah, it'll be my second time.
So when's when did you go the first time?
Not till recently. I never went. I was always scared. I'm scared. I have this whole thing where I'm scared to go see, like legends. That word that.
But there's no legends at the Loft anymore.
I know, but I'm like legendary. Like I'm scared to go. Like I wouldn't go see New Order because I'd be afraid that I would never be able to listen to them again.
Right.
Same thing.
Bernard Sumner looks like Anthony Hopkins now.
He looks like Throw Mama from the Train or something.
Like but not to focus on looks or anything, but I mean I went to the Loft. It was great.
Yeah.
But it was like doing acid. I'm like, okay, great. Did it once. Now I don't have to go anymore.
Yeah, I was fine with it, and then I got really mad. Like at the end of the night, they played that one of those Gorillaz songs that people like, and I like left. I was like, I gotta go.
They played a Deadmau5 song when I went. I actually like Deadmau5. Shouts to Deadmau5.
I'm sure he seems cool actually.
Yeah, his music is
I like his web YouTube stuff.
His mouse head.
No, he's got like weird YouTube shows where he like talks.
Oh yeah, and he
drives around in his car,
eats a sandwich or whatever.
Yeah, but it's weird. But it's weird that there can be this song that's like, nope, I'm leaving, and this like classic establishment.
Yeah, but that's actually the part that I liked about the Loft is that they would play there was like a this is not cool factor to some of the music, where it's almost like dad, like your dad is DJing or something, you know.
I don't know. I've only been once, so I'm not a authority on it.
But they play the DFA remix of
Gorillaz.
Gorillaz, yeah.
It bumps me out. I don't know why. That's like one of those songs. I'm like, how do you like this?
Well, I mean, like with DJing.
Yeah, I guess it's personal taste.
Well, but you have these songs that worked once.
Yeah.
Like I have tracks that worked once, and like I'll go back to the well, if the set's kind of going haywire, and I'm like, why did I do it? This worked once 3 years ago. It's not working anymore. You have to change it up. But I think once you play something at the loft, once the DJs play something at the loft, it becomes inscribed in the canon, and so, you know, now it's a loft song.
I don't know. I don't know how that works. It's weird to me. That, I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. We're probably like we're canceled now.
No, we're not.
No, we're just talking about the loft.
We're just talking about the loft.
I don't know. I don't think I went to the Dave Mancuso. I think he had just. I don't remember what the first one I went to. The one I went to. I can't remember. It was a Valentine's Day one.
Right.
But I don't think it was Dave Mancuso. I think he had just died or something.
I went to one when he was still alive, but he wasn't.
He was
there.
Sick.
Yeah. I think he was sick and he didn't come.
Yeah.
But you know, the loft is like this New York thing where it's become an institution. I think I don't know. When are you going this year?
Yeah, there's
Halloween?
one on the 26th of October.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why are you going?
Somebody I was invited and it seems like why not? It seems like one of I
are
like
you gonna do drugs?
I don't know. People always pass around drugs there. It seems like I don't really. I'm not really. I usually will bring a bottle of wine.
Are you gonna do acid?
No, that doesn't happen in New York City. That's kind of like
everyone I know at the loft does love.
Yeah,
does
I mean I don't know. I just kind of sit in the back and then like some weird.
Do you smoke there?
No,
I don't.
Some people
smoke. You quit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, and there's no smoking at this one. I think it's the first one with no smoking.
Yeah, I liked that actually.
Yeah, it's better.
You could smoke.
No, I know, but I mean, I don't know. I think people smoke weed inside still. Like, so I'll like sit in the back and like smoke weed with some guy that
Right.
like, works for UPS or whatever, and I'll be like, yeah, I unload trucks too, you know, like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I had a great time. That was the.
But that's the thing is, it's nice. It's a nice party.
It was really fun, and
everybody's really friendly.
That was the only true. I think the last time I threw up from drinking was when I went to the loft because I bought a bottle of gin and just drank the whole thing myself.
Bad idea. I was texting today with Will Sokolov, whose father was Dave Mancuso's lawyer. So and he did Sleeping Bag and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna get him. I'll try to get more original loft stories out because he said he was going to the loft when he was like 14. Like when it first started.
When he was 14, that was like being 43 now. Like people had full families when they were 14.
I don't think he had full family when he was 14. He was like just a Brooklyn kid, you know, and his dad was a lawyer for this hippie guy who like needed help with it.
Who sold furniture and threw parties in his loft.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. That's what I'm saying. I don't know enough about it to really like say as much as we're saying.
But I mean the thing with the loft is that it and then there's the loft and there's Joy. I used to go to Joy a lot. I've never
went. Hooney tried to get me to go when he was here and I haven't. I don't really go out late. That just seems like a late night thing. I always work on Saturday and Sunday, so it's hard for me.
Joy used to be late. That when I would go to it when it was late, but now it's early. It's done at 11. It's like it's Sundays or Saturdays 3 to 11 or something like that.
No,
But
I never went.
But yeah, I mean, there's too much to do here.
Yeah.
And so now I just don't really do anything.
Yeah. No, I mean lately I've just been into like listening to music, buying or making music, or I've been doing this podcast thing a little bit. Well,
I mean, the thing with music and clubs and stuff, there was a period maybe 2 years ago where I was playing a lot in New York and also going out a lot, and I'm like,
But now you're not relevant anymore.
Well, no, I'm like I have nothing to celebrate. Why am I out? I can't. I literally can't stomach another beer. I already had 20 smokes. You know.
Well, it's too expensive. Like
Well, I mean, honestly, the expense thing here, though, you get free. People give you free drinks.
yeah,
and
I
you
mean,
don't
I'll
have to
only
pay
go
cover.
somewhere if it's free, pretty much.
Yeah,
I'll buy like 2 drinks or something.
yeah. You're not going to like the Bowery Ballroom and seeing Interpol. And
I'm not gonna spend $80 at the bar.
No. Yeah.
No way. I don't think I've ever spent $80 at a bar.
Really?
No. I'm
have.
really cheap. I'm always just think like, man, I could have just bought a 6-pack. Or I could have bought a bottle of wine. Like, I'm gonna buy this one glass of wine for $12. I could just buy a nice bottle of wine and drink it by myself in my studio.
I did. I went to Public Records.
Yeah, and the cheapest drink is
It's $10.
it's such a nice place though.
It's so nice, but
I can't afford it.
I spent $10 on one drink. The cover was $25, and I found out later I could have got on the guest list.
Yeah.
Whatever, I don't care. Earn money to burn money, and then I took a cab there and back,
Yeah.
and
can't-
yeah, it was like a fucking $80 night,
Yeah.
and I heard some cool tunes or whatever. But I got bills to pay, man.
Yeah. The rent is too damn high.
It's too high, so and also as you get older, you start hating everything, and you don't. You don't really care about. Although occasionally I'll go out and I'll hear something, I'm like, God damn, this is awesome.
I mean, I don't want to get. I just feel like Public Records is really cool. It's a cool space. Everything about it is perfect.
Yeah.
There's a little shelf above the toilet for your drink.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like everything you want to be there is there.
Right.
But Francis is gonna get upset.
Is he gonna watch this?
I don't know. Maybe.
It's a nice place.
He might watch it, but I can't afford it. Like I can't.
Yeah,
It's
I
it's
can't
out of
afford
my.
Out of my price range.
Yeah, I mean, my price range is like $5,
Well,
and even that I'm like, oh God. But
I
that's
mean-
because I'm just poor.
yeah, I'm just a broke ass fool or whatever, however you say it.
A broke ass fool.
in the parlance of our times. I liked going to Output, which was cool. But I liked Output because it had this kind of like
It was also expensive though.
yeah, but
you
it
could
had
get
this,
that really big beer for $8.
and it had this kind of like drug dealer vibe to it, which reminded me of when I got into clubbing. I would go.
I never went to Output too much.
No, I liked it.
I would just go when like Harvey played or something.
Yeah, well, I would do that, but there was still this kind of like I don't know. I like hanging out with drug dealers or something.
Sleazy.
Yeah, it was a bit sleazy. Whereas the clubs, I don't know.
I don't
I
think
don't want to diss any of the clubs because they're doing God's work.
Because you want to get gigs.
Well, and that, yeah. No, but Good Room. I like going to Good Room.
Yeah, I like going to it because it's 4 blocks from my house.
It's fun.
Yeah, I really like Good Room. I think it's a club. It's like standard
Yeah,
club.
it's a club.
It's not.
But
a
that's the
scene.
thing. That's the thing with like. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, go ahead.
But I was gonna say with like the audiophile thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what a club is.
But what do you mean?
Well, for example, if we're talking about output, they had amazing sound in there. It was like
Yeah.
a finely tuned function one. There was absorption. It was a relatively high ceiling, but like it sounded really good in there. But it wasn't marketed as like an audiophile thing. It was just a nightclub. So I mean, with like Brilliant Corners and all these kind of places, and
I've never been.
yeah, I mean or like the whole Klipsch thing.
Clips don't sound good.
It's flat.
Yeah, I've never been impressed by an audiophile bar, really. Like, I don't.
Well, that's what a club is an audiophile bar.
Yeah, I don't. But I like the
Are
idea.
we're making enemies now.
That's okay. But I like the idea of being able to go to a club and sitting there and being able to have a conversation and drink nice drinks. That's nice, Like, but I don't see what the difference is between, like, what's so new about that idea. Like, seems like the DJ should just turn the volume down a little bit when it's mellow, you know?
Yeah, too loud.
Yeah.
Everything's too loud now.
I don't know. I don't go anywhere. I wouldn't know.
I played last week. I won't say where.
Why not?
Because I want to play there again. Anyways, I played. It's a nice club, but it was so fucking loud. In my sound check,
Was it elsewhere?
I hit play on the MPC and I went out. And I'm like, man, it's a little loud, don't you think? And the guy's like, no, it's just the poles.
What, the sound guy?
Yeah, but sound guys are all deaf.
Yeah, I agree.
They're like cops.
Yeah.
They're numb to their surroundings.
Paramedics.
Yeah, they're numb. Like the people who should be protecting us are the ones that are most numb to what's happening. So anyway,
Yeah, I don't like when it's too loud either, too. But it's nice. It's cool. I like, the idea of this audiophile thing. The cool thing about those clubs is it seems like you can feel the music at a lower volume. Like you can feel the physical, whatever, the kick drum or whatever,
right.
at a lower volume. But these other clubs where it's just like blasting super loud, like your ears just hurt. Yeah.
Well, do you have earplugs?
No. If it's too loud, I just leave.
Do you have tinnitus?
No.
Really?
No. I think you get that from headphones mostly.
Yeah.
Like if you turn your headphones up too loud. I also like to turn the monitors low so I can hear how loud the room is.
When you're making tracks?
No, when I'm DJing.
Oh. Yeah, I have it. Everything's cranked.
No, I can't. I don't. I had it when I was traveling a lot and like touring and had a booking agent and was doing all that stuff. I started to get tinnitus because you're playing every night and you're like some gigs you're playing for like 8 hours, like in like Bucharest or something, like.
Yeah.
And then you have to like go to the next night and play in Moscow for 10 hours,
Right.
And then I got tinnitus, but
it goes away a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think as long as you I think it's headphones mostly.
When
If it's too loud in the club, you usually just leave or you like stand off to the side or something.
I went to that club Analog. Have you ever been there?
No.
It's so loud. It's amazing. I love that. I love going there, but it was way too loud and also too packed. But like output, you could buy a cigarette off the guy in the bathroom, which to me is the mark of a good club.
I just want to be able to go to the bathroom and not wait in line for 30 minutes.
But to me the aspect of clubbing has changed where like in Edmonton I would go out, there was a thing called Y After Hours in Edmonton, and you're basically just hanging out with criminals. Which there's a glamour to that, you know.
Yeah.
It's really not what people want right now, but
but you do.
Well, maybe I gotta start getting into trap or something, or what's the dangerous music now?
I have no idea. I don't think it's very dangerous in New York anymore. I think your biggest danger is like police or something.
Yeah, no.
You like go to like a cop bar. Let's
go hang out. You gotta get a DJ.
I would go to that place, Rec Room. Do you remember that place?
Mm-mm.
It was like next. It's like by like Flushing and Knickerbocker, and is next to a cop station. But then it would be like all the people from over by Knickerbocker hanging out with all the like newbies like me or not, whatever, like punk rocker kids, and then so it was like a weird mix. But there was always cops there. That was like the last time
That's danger.
I went there with my cousin's husband. So what is that? My cousin-in-law.
Yeah.
And she was there too, and we like went outside for a minute, and this one guy, we were friends with the bartender, and this one little twerp, was like being a jerk to her at the bar, and so he got kicked out, like a little neighborhood kid, little skinny like asthma kid, like whatever, 23-year-old guy that thinks he's tough with asthma. And so they kick him out, and my cousin-in-law, he they were kicking him out, so he's trying to go back in. So my cousin just grabbed him and pulled him out and like threw him out on the street because he was a bouncer in Houston, and the little kid just popped up and socked him right in the face.
Wow.
And he's a hockey player, like he's like a big Texas dude, and he looked at me and he goes, "Can I hit him?" And I was like, "No," and like 30 seconds later, like the police were there and like had the guy arrested, like thrown up against the fence, and I was like, that would have been you also if you would have hit him. And he was like, okay. And so we like go back inside and like try to pretend like nothing happened.
Right.
to like tell his wife or whatever. But I mean that is a cop bar, and that was the last place that I felt like weird stuff would happen in New York that I went to. You never. I mean, I'd be more worried about that than any local yokel, you know, or
Well, I mean, in 5
or
years,
like roided up dude or whatever. You
yeah,
know?
like in 5 years of living here, I don't think I've had any.
No run-ins.
I haven't had any run-ins
I
with
had
anything. Like I mean, I generally, I strike an opposing figure, so people don't fuck with me. But I haven't.
because you look like a cop.
I look like a cop. I do. I'm coppy, as they would say. Like I did get a liquor ticket recently
For what?
for drinking
On
in
the
public.
street?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's whatever. You can just go to court. They dismiss it.
Yeah, I actually wanted to pay it because I have like immigration concerns. So
They won't let you back into Canada.
well, I was just because I'm like I have a kid now. I'm like fuck. Now in 5 years when I reapply for my
They're like,
immigration,
fuck
they're
up
like-
and send you to Mexico.
yeah
or something
exactly. Or
weird.
like yeah send me to Scandinavia or
You
something.
have to be in a, that'd be crazy. That's
But-
weird that that's like a real thing.
Well, I don't know if it is or not, but anyways, I was looking on the internet to pay it, and I couldn't find my surname, and so I searched by address and it didn't show up, and I searched by the site like the 16-digit citation number, and they had me as Jared Stuffio.
But so then you can get it dismissed. Your name's spelled wrong.
Well, exactly. I'll be like, what? It was the Shaggy thing. It wasn't me. It was this other guy, Stuffio.
No, I mean, but all you have to do is go to. I went to court a couple times for dumb stuff, like riding my bike on the sidewalk, or like something, where you have to,
Mhm.
like there was like a
Mhm.
sting thing. And every time I went there, it was kind of interesting. You see everybody gets their tickets dismissed. It's like you get, I forget what it's called. It's like deferred something, and you get like 6 months if you don't have any trouble.
Right.
All your stuff is dismissed. You just have to like spend a day in court.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm gonna spend a day in court, I'm gonna be playing tennis on court. If you get it.
Hey.
But, anyways. Yeah.
All right. Did we miss anything? What did we go too far?
I don't know.
You'll have to watch it back, I guess. And
Do I have to watch it?
You should let the wife watch it and see what she says.
I don't think we got spicy at all.
Breached.
Man.
We didn't breach.
If anything, it's just like really boring.
Yeah, always possible. Always possible. I mean, we went for 2 hours and 10 minutes. I think
That's pretty good.
I think we beat everybody now.
Really?
Yeah, maybe. Or we're close.
I mean, we didn't even talk about my my drug empire. I'm just kidding.
What kind of drug empire do you have?
None.
Oh,
No.
I don't want to talk about that anymore.
I mean, I told people my life story. So
yeah, and can they look out for anything in the future? You have like another Deck Mantle release or some more
I just finished an album.
and it's going to be on Good Timin' or Bad Timin'?
I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen to it.
Maybe you could do like side A on Good Timin' and side B on Bad Timin', and then do like a good room, bad room, and you could like play half your set in one room and the other in the other.
That's a pretty good idea, actually. I don't know. I finished an album, but it was stuff that I had been working on in my 20s, and so I finally finished it at 40. The idea was to finish it before my wife had the baby, but I missed the deadline, and so I fucked up the whole concept. So I don't know. I finished an album. I don't know when you're going to air these. Maybe it'll come out soon. Maybe it'll be like 3 EPs. But I kind of like picked up your accent. 3 EPs.
3-piece.
This is what happens when you talk to
But
someone.
what
for
kind of
tone.
accent do I have? People always think that I'm
No,
Canadian.
no,
They'll,
yeah.
they'll be like, "Where are you from, Canada?"
It's not an accent. It's just like an inflection that you have.
Oh.
It's the brunette thing. Anyway, so I'm always working on music. I don't know when it'll come out, but
But it's gonna be Jex Opolis, not a.
The Coroner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I sense a comeback.
Well, I just don't know what's happening anymore. I mean, like, there's no truth, there's no music, there's no. So you just have to.
That's not true.
No, that's not true.
But you just do your thing, man. It doesn't matter. I don't think too hard. I think that's the trick.
I don't think at all.
That's not true. But so you can go to your Bandcamp.
Yeah.
And Good Timin' Bandcamp. It also has the Bad Timin' releases.
Go to Jex. I recently rebranded everything.
Jex Opolis.
Jex Opolis.
And
Everything is under Jex Opolis.
Jexopolis.
Yeah.
Jex Opolis. How it
Opolis.
sounds. No punctuation.
No.
Bandcamp.
No. Yeah. So everything's on Bandcamp. There's
Were you able to put your other releases from other labels on there?
no.
Oh, you gotta get that.
I mean, I get
It's worth trying for.
It is, but I don't think
You gotta wait like 7 years or something.
Yeah, the running back one is almost 5 now.
Mm.
But they send me statements every year.
Yeah, it's like 12 cents or something.
No, like more than that, man.
$60.
Yeah, $100.
Sweet. I always just tell them to keep it.
Really?
I don't think it's running back. It's one of the. Maybe it is running back. I don't know. I get them all mixed up.
Why would you not? Why would you say
Well,
no?
because it's like
$100?
$9 or something.
Oh, yeah, $9. I mean,
$100, I guess.
110 euros.
I would take that.
Yeah, that's like one night at Public Records, man.
Oh man. Damn. Oof. Sorry, guys.
Whatever. Who cares?
They'll be fine.
Everyone's fine.
It's a nice
man.
place.
It's nice.
You're never gonna play there.
Whatever.
They probably won't even let you in anymore.
Look, that's life in the big city, man.
You're gonna have to change your name. All right. So check out Jex Opolis. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
All right.
All right.
See you in a little while.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.